welcome to a special episode of the SmaxTalk Podcast about the teams in the semifinals and their players individually. We've got a representative from 3 of the 4 teams. Unfortunately, Ryan Goosling, aka AKM Joker, is feeling under the weather tonight. But today with me, I'm Smax, of course, and today I've got Essentia's Teatime, Go Next's Tron, and Soulbound Tsunami's Aerys. How you guys doing tonight?
And AKM Smax.
Hey,
obviously.
for tonight, I am taking the part of AKM, I guess. I don't know.
He always takes the part.
Okay.
I'm excited to get into this. I'm excited to get into this.
Already blaming Max.
Okay, well, someone has to be the AKM defender here. You guys are all.
That's why I wasn't meaning you, Smax. I was being dead serious. Like, that's your role. It's natural. Really fits as well.
If Goose was here, then it'd be him. But it's got to be me now. So. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna get right into things. This is gonna be a different episode than we're kind of used to, because we're not really gonna be talking about the individual matchups and the games and everything. Of course, we are going to talk about the past games and how the players have been so far, but we are mostly going to be talking about the players on each team individually, very similarly to the top 20 list, and we're going to be comparing them directly to their counterparts in their role in the semis. So the 4 teams left, we do have a few roles that are higher than just 4 players, thanks to Essentia and Soulbound here. So that's gonna make things a little bit more interesting. But apart from that, yeah, it's gonna be some fun. So let's just actually, you guys have any opening things you want to say before we hop into top lane?
No, I'm really excited to do this one. I think my brainchild of a podcast has come to fruition, so I'm happy.
All right, we'll see.
I'm ready. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready too. So let's just hop right into the top lane position here. We've only got 4. Kind of. Of course, Elvis does get subbed out for Steel City sometimes, but we're gonna, for the sake of consistency, keep Steel City in the mid lane. So the 4 top laners we're gonna be going over here are Coronavirus for Akuma Katanas, Diesel for Essentia Storm, Bad Boy B-Way on Go Next, and Elvis, aka a bunch of different things for Soulbound Tsunami. And yeah, I'm pretty high on a lot of these guys. I actually, all 4 of them I think are pretty good. They're definitely standouts here, especially after the quarterfinals. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the top lane pool we've got.
I'm pretty happy about it too, but I do think, personally for me, the top lane is the weakest of the 5 roles that we have here, from the pool of players. And that may come as a surprise, because I think Corona was very high on a lot of the top 20 player lists. But I think for me, it's not necessarily just about him. It's about kind of the pool as a whole. And I also don't necessarily think that he's as good as he may seem.
I can agree with that, kind of. I think it's a toss between top and support, though, for the weakest role. But
I was probably going to bring up support as that.
Yeah.
Because I think we've knocked out a lot of the supports that I have really high opinions of. I'm talking about Curry and Merc specifically. And I mean, we can talk about Lax in a little bit, but he's also out. But I was mostly going to go towards
Lax
that.
He's not out. He's on there.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. He didn't play in quarters, but he
mean
might come back in. Yeah, that's true. We'll leave that up to your mystery. But the reason that I'm leaning a little bit more towards support is because, and I would have agreed with top lane before, but I think after the quarters, my opinion of B-Way has skyrocketed. I think that he looks a lot better than he did before, and in his current state, I think B-Way is really, really good.
Yeah, I think he's always been really good. I think he just had a slump for a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially with all the schooling and stuff going on, and then the coronavirus shutting down school and stuff like that. He's worked really hard though recently. Like, he's putting in a lot of time right now, and it's really good.
I agree for sure that B-Way, he looked really good in quarterfinals. But for me, most of that comes down to the fact that the side's kind of troll drafted against him. Like, they gave him the set, they gave him Aurelia, and then what was the 3rd champion he played?
He played set twice.
He played set twice.
But last time he played set, it didn't look good.
Yes, that's
mostly where I'm but if you look at his solo queue account, those are his 2 most played. So, for me, B-Way's weakness isn't in his gameplay necessarily. It can be, certainly, sometimes. But for me, it's more in the champions he's picking. And the fact that he got the champions and they worked in the team comps that, okay, granted, game 3's team comp for going next was completely troll, but it worked anyway because sides were too far gone at that point. But like, it wasn't difficult for him to like look good in those games, in my opinion. So for me, it didn't really change my opinion on B-Way. Yeah.
Well, I think compared to what he looked like before, it really is kind of surprising that he got to this point. I mean, not surprising in that like, oh yeah, B-Way just sucks now. He's completely washed. He's never gonna be back to what he was. But it's surprising in that he was able to just snap back really quickly. Because, like I said, my opinion of him before quarters was pretty low, just based on his performance in the previous games. And yeah, I think he was a lot less coin flippy specifically in those 3 games. I think his set was very consistent, and it was also against who I consider to be the best performing member for sides in that quarters as well. I think Shaden was consistently the best player in those 3 games for sides, and B-Way still kept up with Shaden and outperformed him, specifically in game 2. Of course, everyone in Go Next outperformed in game 2, but game 3 as well. He definitely did too, in the side lane on the Aurelia. So I'm really impressed with B-Way, and because of that, I personally can't say that top lane is the weakest role here in the semis.
Yeah.
I think it's a heavy-weighted coin flip, 70-30. 70% is really good, 30%
I mean, for me, the thing about B-Way that just stands out, like, in my head, I can't, like, stop not seeing it, is him having, like, Flame Horizon, the top laner, being up, like, 2 whole items, and then getting one shot every team fight at the start. Like, you have all those resources, and it felt to me like, yeah, okay, he had one team fight where he survived more than 3 seconds and did something, but, like, he should be 1v9ing those every fight, and he only did something in one of the 3, I think, that I saw him. In the other 2, he just got instantly popped. So I feel like if that's him on his main champion Aurelia with all the resources you could possibly beg for, it wasn't that impressive.
To be fair, he was against like a 10-0 Syndra.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Like, again, like, I'll give him some leeway. Like, he's not bad. Like, I don't think. Well, he's not bad when he's on his champions. I think he's really good when he's on his champions. But like, but yeah, still, like, I don't think top lane in general is that strong. As a whole.
So yeah, we'll touch on the rest of the members here because we haven't really talked about them. I know you said that you think Corona's overrated. I'm more interested in hearing what you have to say about your top laner Diesel, because he's definitely the one here who has gotten the least exposure. I think you picked him up in week 6, right?
Yeah.
Right? So he's
so.
played
week 6 or 7.
He's played less than 10 games, and yeah, he's. What'd you say?
Must be a Smurf.
Yeah, he's played
of course.
700 games already this season.
Less than 10 games in the league.
Yeah. Just dropped from 1 to people real fast, playing Kalista top.
Yeah.
God.
But anyway, yeah, I would like to hear what you have to say about Diesel as a whole and how he's really shaped up to this point.
Can you guys? Do you guys want to go first? Because it's like my player.
I mean, I can if you want.
Yeah, go for Aerys.
We're talking about Diesel, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just think Diesel is super solid. That's the opinion I have of him. I don't know. He never seemed to fuck up that much from what I've seen of him. He seems to be just a rock that's incredibly consistent in most of the games, at least. With pulling out weird picks like Nasus and stuff, but he's still, like, I don't know. I have a very high opinion of Diesel. I think he's really good. I think he's a really good player, and he's one of the shining points of the Essentia.
Yeah, I was going to say he was really consistent as well. I think that's the main word I think of when I think about Diesel. It'll be interesting in the matchup later, tomorrow, because B-Way can kind of abuse on a lead, and if Bichon can get him ahead, we'll see if Diesel can stay consistent. But Diesel also had some tower dives against him that he pulled out and cleaned those up pretty well. So
the Nasus.
Yeah. I definitely agree. Tomorrow's B-Way versus Diesel is like the ultimate. You got like you got shield versus sword in that matchup. Like,
sure,
this is the ultimate, like the coin versus the fucking one-sided piece of paper. You know, like Diesel's always gonna be like good. B-Way will either be insane or completely dog shit. So it's like it is a perfect kind of like matchup. I really like Diesel's chances in that matchup. And how do I rate Diesel as a top laner? I think a lot like he doesn't get the credit that he maybe due on our roster. I definitely agree that he's one of the shining points of it, Aerys. Like he does a really, really solid job. But I think for me personally, he's the number one top laner. But obviously that comes with bias, right? Because I'm his coach, and like I don't see Corona in scrims, I don't see B-Way in scrims, I don't see Elvis in scrims. I don't know how they communicate with their team. But for me, like the comms that Diesel has is like really insane. So a bit of backstory about Diesel is that he was actually a professional Heroes of the Storm player.
Really?
Who swapped the league, I think like 2 seasons ago.
Like, is he play with Crone by any chance?
Maybe I have no idea.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, Diesel was like I think he almost like got into like the pro league or something. Like he was like on academy for ages, and like I can't remember. Diesel got reverse swept in the finals, so
Ouch.
the Ascension curse carries through.
Oh god.
We banded together and broke that curse.
He broke it. He broke it last time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We're unstoppable now that we've broken that curse. But Diesel was and like his comms for a team environment is really insane. So like my perception of him is obviously going to be a lot higher than what you guys would see of him. So yeah,
That's cool.
I think Diesel's super solid.
I liked that game. It just didn't, have players. So.
Yep.
But yeah, that's
he was
cool.
a Diablo main.
I didn't know
He
that
was a
about him.
Diablo main. He was a tank
Oh, really?
Diablo main. Yeah,
Interesting.
tank main, like perfect for top lane.
Yeah, I guess so.
Tank main carries over.
I always played
Yeah.
Murky.
I got to D1 playing Rhaegar in that game.
Avatar's
this is a League of
sick.
Legends podcast.
Oh.
guys.
We're branching
Yeah.
out too much, but yeah, it's just.
I think Diesel versus B-Way will be a chance for Diesel to really show what's up.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the
It's
shining
hard
light
to
for
comment on him
him.
until that.
I think the biggest thing for him in that matchup is his champion pool. Like you were saying, I think B-Way is really good at the champions he plays, but there are definitely fewer of them than for Diesel. So
Mhm.
Ban out B-Way, please.
I mean,
Worry
if you
about
ban
the
out
big
B-Way,
players,
then
right?
you're gonna have some trouble in the jungle. But,
Yeah.
all right.
I can't wait for Friday. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's gonna be
Maybe,
really good.
maybe it's just me, but I feel like even if B-Way gets his champion, Diesel should be able to at least stabilize the lane.
By
That's all I
flaming
see.
B-Way's champion pool, I'm baiting you into thinking that I'm going to ban B-Way out.
Of
And now he's going
course.
to practice other champions, and he's going to be bad on his main champions.
You think we scrim? Huh?
I mind games.
Just scrims, what are those?
Yeah.
No, that's scrim.
Anyway, so yeah, the elephant in the room. We gotta approach it now. We got Elvis.
Is that what he does? He spits or something? I don't know. There you go.
No, if he swallows it, that's what he does.
Only
Oh
Elvis.
god. So yeah, Elvis. He's the fourth best top laner.
I kind of disagree with that,
Okay.
but
Okay. I'm
Oh.
excited for this.
Who's that then?
I put him above B-Way.
Oh.
But I don't know. I think it's close between the top laners as itself. Like it's not as polarized as it seemed at first. Because I totally agree that first of all, Corona did not seem as good as people made it out to be. Not that he was bad or anything, but I don't know. He seemed
He was kinda
overhyped
bad.
to me.
Well, I
Yeah.
think coronavirus has got like a curse. Like I think what happened. Like this is no blame to him, obviously. In the regular season, he's against pretty bad opponents, right?
Yeah.
He does well because he's playing, Renekton and carries versus bad players. Like he's gonna look good, but personally, I think that now that it's going to playoffs, I think he's gonna come up against any of these players, and he might get stuck against.
Yeah, I think it's just going
A
to
couple of
stop.
them.
Yeah,
And-
I think it's just stopped by him.
I wouldn't
I-
say I don't know about that, but
I think his
he
curse.
might have a game where he looks really bad.
I think his curse is less about that and more about 3 games of Rumble.
Yeah, but I can't
He
blame
does the
him
most
for that.
damage, though. He does the
It
most damage.
worked, and
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that's a reflection of him.
I don't.
Like
I don't
he
either.
looked bad. but
He
yeah.
didn't look very good in the Rumble. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I would
don't
be
think
really
people
surprised if
banning.
he picked that in the next set. I don't think he's gonna be. I don't
Let's
think
say
he's
that
gonna
Goose
do
can run his Portugal comp.
Oh yeah, of
See,
course.
I just remember them as the Asian invasion team. So I think Soulbound sweeps 3-0 on that, like easy.
You really think so? Damn.
Yes.
I think
Oh.
So
But I think
just
Corona is the changing factor for them this season, right?
Yeah,
He's
he
the only
is.
thing that changed. So I think
Uh,
that's like
I think it's pretty important.
So the last split, the third game, we didn't play any roles, just like Soulbound doesn't play any of their roles half the time. So like, I haven't seen. I've seen some progress, and I guess they're the best team in the league or something. I don't know.
well again. I think they got a really easy group stage.
Exactly. I mean, that's what I'm saying. So I don't. I think they'll show their true colors
Against Soulbound.
this Soulbound game.
I think that's definitely going to be their biggest opponent. Like it's there's no argument against that at all.
I think it's 3-0 though. I think they're gonna get like deer and headlights just like they did versus us last split.
That might happen.
So you think whoever wins the Soulbound Katana's game, Smax wins the whole thing?
I think that.
I think so as well.
Well, me and Tron disagree, obviously.
It depends.
I think we're deviating from Corona too much there. I think we should go back to the topic, okay?
Just
we were actually talking about Elvis.
Yeah, what I was saying about
Elvis. It's so easy
Elvis?
to deviate from him, though. He's so unoffendable.
Yeah, outside of like
I think he gets hard carried every game, and he gets to look good. That's why.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't think he gets hard carried. I think he can make his own leads, but it's really just he's usually the sack for a lot of the plays. So
yeah,
makes him
just to talk about Elvis a little bit, just to give it a bit of context. Elvis is the kind of player that gets in game. He tells everyone to not come top lane, to make him play island, to not give him resources, and he still find ways to carry and be relevant. And that works very well with Soulbound as a whole, because we have some players that are very resource dependent, and Elvis being that rock, kind of like how Diesel is, in my opinion, for Ascension, that is very consistent and that finds ways to be good, even if he refuses to get resources. I think that's really good, and that makes him very good.
Yeah, I definitely think he's good.
I think every team needs a player like that to do well.
Yeah. I don't think he's bad. I just think I think very highly of the rest of the top laners as well. But yeah, I think that he's quite good. Definitely above the memes outside of game. He definitely still can carry. Of course, he's gonna say, when does this get hard? Of course, but yeah, it seems like for him it gets the hardest on your team. To put it in a nicer way, I guess. But
it'll be really interesting to see Elvis match up against Corona if Doubtful is playing top side, because like if Elvis is able to like do really well on weak side up there, like he could really carry his team. Like he has huge potential to carry his team on in your guys' match, because if he can just like 2v1 and sustain it and come out even or ahead, like even or only slightly behind, I think he'll be. Like, that'll be a huge credit to him if he actually able to do that. It'll be interesting to see. I don't write off Elvis completely. Like, obviously I meme about him.
Yeah.
Like, he's a bit of a meme. But, like, yeah, like, I can see what you mean about him being weak side. And, like, yeah, he plays a good Ornn.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
His Ornn's nuts. Well, his Shen is also very sick. You didn't see it much.
Oh, yeah.
No, I have
seen
probably the best
Shen
Shen player I know.
Nice.
And he's very good at that champion. And that works very well with his playstyle.
Yeah, I think it does. I'm impressed by Elvis. I think that he's quite good.
These semifinal matchups are going to be great for the top lane, actually.
I'm really, really excited for the semis, as a whole. I'm
good
going
at
to be
dodging
saying that a
games,
lot.
man.
But yeah, let's get into our top 2 ranking. So we're going to go through each role. Obviously, we're just going to do top right now, but we're going to give our top 2 players in each role, and we'll start with Teatime for the top lane here.
I'm gonna say for like again, like this is obviously biased. Diesel's my number 1. I think what he contributes to the team environment and like comms and just generally as a team player, I think that's where he stands out more than anything else. And that's nothing you can ever see when you're just watching League of Legends. So for me, he's my number 1, obviously, because I know his bar to be extremely high, not only in the way he acts in the team, but also like in his gameplay as well. And then my number 2 is going to be Corona. I think B-Way is too exploitable. That's it. And then I think Elvis is a meme. So.
All right. Do you guys have the Discord like overly open where we can see each box? Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna go clockwise. So Tron's next.
Okay.
Oh, see, that's not how it lines up for
Yeah,
me.
it's
Oh,
not.
really? Okay. Well,
Yeah, that's why it lines up for me. Well,
I mean, I'm fine with going next.
yeah, you can. I didn't. I thought that it would line up all the same.
just call it Smax.
Yeah.
Just name the
We'll
person. It's gonna
we'll
be
just go
easier.
to Tron next. Yeah.
All right. So obviously B-Way. B-Way's number one, only because like I've seen him take games that look unwinnable and then have a huge backdoor play and win the entire game for us. I've seen him shit stomp a top laner, double flame horizon them, and then carry that, take all the pressure from other lanes, make them roam up, and then we just push other leads elsewhere. And then, I mean, I think he's just a great player overall. And then number two, I would say Diesel. I think Diesel's really fucking good too. And like I said earlier, I'm really excited for the matchup tomorrow. It's gonna be great.
I agree. All right, let's go Aerys.
Oh, okay.
So is it
It
is it
doesn't
different
line
lined
up
up for
for
you
me.
too?
Yeah, no. It's
Okay.
it
He's
would've
Elvis
been
number
you
one.
next.
I'm just
Okay.
gonna.
No, I'm not gonna say Elvis
I'm
number
just
one.
gonna type
I
it out
said-
what the order
I
is.
said I'm giving a real opinion. No, I'm gonna say number one, Diesel. Honestly, again, I have a very high opinion of him, and because the number one would have been Corona, but the Corona that I saw in quarters does not convince me to put him number one. Actually, it made me put him down lower. So I would put Diesel number one, and then number two I would put Elvis, if the Corona that we saw in quarters is playing.
Yeah.
Because if Corona plays better, he's definitely number two or even number one. But if that's like the Rumble that you talked in the other podcast, the Rumble player, that version of Corona is third in my mind, and Elvis is better
Mm-hmm.
than him in that sense.
Gotcha.
So Diesel Elvis for me.
All right. Well, I guess AKM Smack starts now. I'm gonna go Corona first. I think that the quarterfinals coronavirus is not going to make an appearance, and I think that when he's playing his champions, he will stomp everyone. And I don't think that they're going to dilly-dally with the Rumble again. Even though they showed it and they did win all the games with it, I think that they're not likely to go back to it more than once. I think they might just they might do it again. But I think that they're not going to do it more than once. And when he's playing his Aatrox Renekton set, that kind of thing, I think he just runs over the game. So he's definitely my number one still. Although I will fully admit that he has, because of his Rumble performance, I think he's definitely lower in my mind. But I still think that he's my number one. And number two, it's gonna sound pretty hypocritical because I don't take quarters in mind for Corona, but I do take quarters in mind for B-Way. B-Way is my number two. I think that with how he looked there, he is fully back to how he looked last split for me. And last split, I would have put B-Way coming into this season at number one. And I'm gonna keep that consistency here for me here, because I think now that his set looks up to par with how a set should look, that's even better for me, because he wasn't really looking at all that good on it before. He tried to play the Mordekaiser too, and it didn't work all that well for him. But now that he's playing the set really well and he's still pulling out the Aurelia, who just got buffed, I think that he is really threatening, and I think that he is going to be really, really good in that matchup against Diesel. And I think even despite the champion pool gap for Diesel, in favor of Diesel, I think that B-Way's just sharpened pool here with the Aurelia, the set that he's now playing, and stuff like the Fiora as well, I think that he's going to have his way with that matchup pretty easily. So
I definitely I think for me, if Corona does what he did in the group stages games that I watched to like these three remaining top laners he's got to face up against, like if he could do that, then like he would be out and out like number one. But I don't think that I think he was like those performances looked extra good because he was in the regular season. But I definitely think like I said, Corona was my number two. I definitely think like he has like I'm not sure. He's the one I really don't know about because I don't know what he's like against another really good top laner. So it'll be interesting.
all right, sweet.
Just touch on that point.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad we all have differing ones here. That's why we got one for each
Well,
team.
everyone got a mention, so that's quite good. I like that.
Yeah, I really like the top lane pool. I think all the pools are really good, but blasphemous to say the top is the worst.
Honestly,
It's
maybe AD
for-
carry could be the worst. Honestly, now that I look at it, we'll see.
Possibly. I
Actually,
think
maybe AD carry is the worst. I don't know.
We'll have to get down there. But
yeah.
one we all agree is definitely not the worst is jungle. Let's hop into jungle now.
Yeah.
It is the strongest.
Yeah, I think jungle is the strongest of the
Jungle
roles here.
Kingdom.
Yeah,
Jungle Kingdom indeed.
these junglers are so good. In the top 20 list, we at least for me, I had both Bishan and Doubtful in my top 10, and if Turtle had played enough games, he would have been there too. I think that
You didn't have any striker and JWO.
I didn't put either of them on the list. I'm sorry.
I mean,
That's fine.
it's hard to give
I
a
don't.
nod to Striker.
Yeah, I forgive you.
Because I think Striker good coin flip, I'm gonna call it like that, definitely ends in the top 20. Striker bad coin flip, we don't want to see that one, you know? Like it's
Yeah.
rough to rank a player like that. Like it gets dragged down by the inconsistency a lot.
Yeah.
And like yeah.
It's kind of the B wave problem.
Yeah, that's why I rank B-Way lower as well. I don't value inconsistent players that much.
That's fair.
That's just me.
But yeah, speaking of consistency, I think that you can't really look past Bishan at all with that. I think Bishan is certainly the most consistent jungler here. And
I disagree.
you disagree? You think it's Turtle?
Well, I'm not flaming Bishan because I think Bishan is incredibly good, but I think in
I used
terms
to.
of consistency, it's definitely Turtle. It's his forte. I
Yeah,
think Bishan on the opposite will have much higher highs than Turtle, as we saw, but not that he's coin flip, but it doesn't necessarily land at the same consistent level as Turtle, if that makes sense.
I've never seen Bichon like int though.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, I'm not
Like-
saying
like,
ends.
You know what
It's
I mean?
more like he. It's
I've
more
never
like
seen Bichon int a game, but I've definitely seen him int play. It's like hard int.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I respect
Yeah.
that.
it's more like Bishan is either like good or really good, and I think like Turtle is always just a bit better than good. You know, I don't know how to. Like he ranges in
Yeah.
the middle.
Yeah.
I don't know how to. Yeah.
Sure.
I've never seen Bishan lose go next to game, but he wins go next games a lot.
Yeah.
I think now that we're up against better teams, so there's a chance because the way I see Bichon in my mind's eye is that I see him like playing like a Masters Plus like challenger player for like 10 minutes of the game, and then for a split second, I just see him do something that is completely out of character, like completely bronze, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, what am I watching right now? Like, how could you play so well for 10 minutes and then just do that? Like. That's how and Bichon, don't get me wrong, like I feel like he will bounce back from those mistakes straight away. Like he won't continually make them, but his capability to make those, now that we're in playoffs, could lose them a game or two. Maybe. There's a chance. But for me, like Bichon definitely is good. He is a good player. Like I rate Bichon super highly.
Yeah. I do as well. I have nothing but good things to say about Bishan. Let's just actually go to Turtle now. So Turtle is definitely the jungler that we've seen the least of. He played I think 4 games in regular season, and he has played 6 in playoffs. So he's played 10. He's looked really good in all of them though. So
I mean,
yeah.
he has to be number one, right? He Jungle Griffin, so by proxy, he's number one.
So that's complete
True.
loss. Okay, Griffin looked like bronze Bichon, right, for that entire series.
Yeah, but it's because Turtle neutralized him.
No,
Disciples.
no,
Oh, yes.
Griffin just,
I think it's a little bit of that, actually.
I can't tell you, like, he didn't neutralize him. He just went red to red. How is that neutralizing it?
I mean, every
Running
single
it
time,
down, man.
every single time Griffin went for
wanted to lose
something.
that series. Griffin said to, hey, team, I've been carrying you all split. You carry me now or it's done. And they didn't carry him. Ran it down. So I don't think he should be even in discussion, in this jungle discussion. Griffin is not. I don't think that gives Turtle credit. Like, to me, like after watching, like those are the easiest struggle games of my life. Turtle had to do nothing. Griffin would just run it down for him. Turtle would just literally see Griffin and be like, "What the hell is this guy doing, man?" Like,
all right. Well, apart from that, he did look really good in the TFT series, but again, not the strongest opponent. And then the other 4 games were in Friday Division. So also not the strongest opponents. I think
I've only seen him play Gragas and Trundle so far, though. I
He
don't
played
actually
Orange
think I've seen
Jungle?
him deviate from that.
He-
at all.
didn't he
Did
play-
Orange Jungle?
yeah, he played
He played Orange Jungle as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has the biggest champion pool I know of any jungler. He can play 20 champions at competitive level.
I think
Like it's not even a meme.
the same
It's
concerns
insane.
that people have about Akuma Katanas coming out of that division are the ones that I have about not all of Soulbound, I would say, but specifically Turtle, because I've seen him the least. And like I think he's really good, and just watching him play, I know that he's really good. Similarly to Katanas, but yeah, I think it's a little bit of shot in the dark because like us as PRL spectators have only seen so little of him. But I still have him really high. It's just yeah, I think his opponent here is one that's a little bit more known quantity, which is doubtful for the semis. But yeah, I think the Turtles. I don't know. I don't. I'm still a little bit lost on what to say about him.
I mean, he jungles on a team in uncapped leagues and he pops off. Like I've been watching him play for a year. It's insane. He's just really fucking good. Like yeah, I don't have anything else to say about him. Like I don't know. He's so smart. Like I've played on a team with him before, and the way he talks, like the way he communicates, the way he talks about the game, and like I don't know, he's gonna be able to predict the jungler all game long, call out every single place he's gonna be, every single place he's gonna gank. He's gonna be there, or he's gonna like make his laners back off. He has a super big champion pool. Like he's mechanically super great. Like I don't know. I only have good things to say about him.
Wait,
Of course, but
are you describing your jungler or my jungler?
I'm describing mine.
That's exactly what mine does. So,
Or both of my
I mean-
junglers. My junglers.
I mean, maybe they both do it, but I do think that the part about champion pool.
Well, see, like you say champion pool, and like, how do you know Bishan doesn't have a huge champion pool?
I don't know. The only thing I heard about him is that
See
he
what
can
I'm
play
saying?
three
Like,
champions.
Turtle has a huge champion pool.
I mean,
he
it's-
only played like
Yeah.
3 champs, right?
No. I
You
mean,
know what I'm saying? It's like the same idea.
yeah, true. But I've been told that Bishan played 3 champions really well, and the rest was not bad, but not as good, is what I've been told.
Yeah, he's got
There was
three
one,
that are like really reliable that he will just pick in every instance.
I'm
which-
getting out my notebook, by the way. I've got game tomorrow. Can you list these off for me, please? Just...
If you don't know, then I don't think you should be
I'm
participating.
beaming. Zach, Salia, listen.
There you
I
go.
think that's it, right?
Those are his fallbacks, but he definitely plays other champions.
He may or may not. Oh, Evelyn is really good. His Evelyn is really.
Oh, wait, you know about the
Evelyn's
Evelyn? Oh, no.
nasty.
John, his Evelyn is actually nuts. Dude.
Oh,
Okay?
no.
Ugh.
I don't match his Evelyn. It's the fucking pick.
That Lee Sin
Um,
game against against Kaz is what he did to a lot of people on Evelyn.
I love his listen. I think it's really good.
But anyway, yeah,
I
Like I
actually
said-
think I'm really excited to see Turtle versus Doubtful because Doubtful is my most highly overrated jungler on this list.
Wow.
What do you guys think? Because my reasoning behind that is that Klexo gives him everything,
that's true.
and I think
It's 'cause they're brothers.
Doubtful ends up benefiting massively and getting made to look really good by Klexo, who's actually like the hidden OP, like the hidden carry in that duo, like super hard. So if Turtle is as good as Aerys says, to be honest, I can't comment on Turtle because I haven't seen him that much. I think we played against him. We played against him twice actually, but like both those games, it was hard to tell. Like there were such fiestas, man. Like I can't tell what he's doing behind the scenes, so it's really difficult.
Mhm.
And like the way Soulbound plays seems so like fiesta-y. So again, like there's no flame that it can work. Like it's a very perfectly
I mean, it's their
balanced-
style. It's not
Yeah,
flame. It's how it is.
yeah. So it's like hard to tell like whether like it's hard to see like the really intricate details of like pathing and stuff in such
That's true.
maniac games. What's that word? Maniac?
I know,
Yeah.
we know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's like such crazy games. So him versus Klexo Doubtful duo will be interesting. Really interesting.
I agree.
Because I think if Turtle is really good, he'll actually like show Doubtful up, and if he's not, he'll look really bad because Klexo will shit on him, and Doubtful will get all the credit.
So yeah, I think Doubtful does get a lot of the credit a lot of time because he does benefit from the funnel a lot. Because he's playing the Rengar to Plexo's Ivern, he's playing the Olaf to Forbidden's Yumi. He's
So the
doing a lot of
Lulu
this
mid,
stuff. And the Lulu mid, yeah.
That
happened?
give the jungler everything he needs. Of course, he's gonna look good, man. Like it's
Yeah,
and
but
also like yeah.
I think he has a lot of this confidence because his mechanics are really good and because of the funnel. So I think it's kind of like two-handed here. Like, obviously, yes, he's getting funneled. He's getting all the support. He's getting a ton of stuff that would set up a jungler for success. But it only works because he is very good. And he does have the mechanics to back it up. And he does know how to track the enemy jungler and get in and steal their buffs and cause chaos in there and like invade and solo kill you on like Olaf and Lee Sin and that kind of thing. So if Doubtful wasn't as good as he is, then they wouldn't be funneling him.
But I think it's an element of like it's like they funnel him and it works, so they keep doing it and it keeps working, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it's like in my the way I see it is like character master Yi, right? This is a boosting strategy, right? And it doesn't take two challenger players to hit like challenger playing character master Yi if they just do a queue late at night, right?
I agree.
But like if they come up against a really really good like mid jungle who can shut it down, it's gonna be like that's the difference between like being really good and really bad. It's hard to it's like really easy to get 90% win rate on Terrac Master Yi
I agree.
in gold and platinum, but it's really hard to like win against the really really good players. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes
like,
sense. Yeah, I definitely agree.
It seems like over like you whenever you talk about Doubtful, you have to take into account the fact that he is being funneled every resource, so he should be performing this way. It's nothing special to me. Like it doesn't seem like he's doing anything out of this world.
So yeah, the main problem that I have is that there are games where they're not doing that. If that was the only way that they were winning, then I'd be more aligned with you. But they didn't play that at all against OTA, and they still 3-0'd them.
Well, OTA is not good.
I think OTA is good.
I know you do, but they're not.
It was Nutty 9, and
No, okay.
I think OTA as a good like.
And Klepto Bismal. How can you say it like
Okay.
They
But they didn't
You're
funnel.
99
They didn't funnel with that,
They
right?
didn't have to.
Yeah,
The
I
OTA
okay.
was dog shit.
But based on what T is saying, they would still funnel that, and it would work because those players are bad.
Portugal, right? They played Portugal versus OTA.
Yes, they did.
I mean, that's essentially a funnel. That's as close as you're going to get without
I don't
actually
think
funneling.
so.
You put him on Zac and you say,
That
okay,
was-
you can
that was
be in,
definitely
and it's
not a
complete
funnel.
darkness.
Klexo
But
was
it's
just
like-
popping off on Nocturne.
It's so easy to play Zac with a Nocturne mid. Like, it's so easy.
Yeah, but Klexo was doing that. That wasn't okay. Anyway,
I'm just saying. I think it'll be really interesting to see
It will.
Turtle versus because again, it's one of those things where these are two junglers who I can't properly gauge their skill level. Like it's very hard to gauge Doubtful skill level in my eyes because it's like how does he perform if he's not getting like
well, we've seen it.
funneled. But even then, it's like how does he perform against a good jungler while he's not getting funneled? You know, that's the combination. You got to do both things at the same time.
You can say that we've seen it. I do think that we agreed that was probably the weakest performance by him in a while. So if you say that we saw it in quarters, we said that it was probably the weakest Doubtful looked in a long time individually.
That's true.
Against
So
Klepto,
if we're
by the way.
saying
Against
that
Klepto, yeah.
we saw without the funnel, does that mean that I think you're giving T the point here?
Well,
He
we've
needs
also-
that to actually perform.
And that's against Klepto, and he's not funneling and he can't perform. So
We-
what's he going to do against Bishan or
We
against
have-
Striker on form or against Turtle?
So if he wasn't
I
on
said on
form,
form. On purpose.
if he wasn't on form against OTA, then who was?
The draft was on
The
form
team
against OTA.
as a 5-man unit is still
I
super good.
think-
But,
I
yeah.
think
Yeah,
they won
'cause-
most drafts as well.
Because I think we all agree that Coronavirus wasn't on form, their bot lane wasn't on form, and now we're saying that Doubtful wasn't on form.
I actually disagree with that. I think their bot lane played better than what I've seen them play before.
They got solo
that's
killed in
true.
every matchup.
I know, but I've seen them do worse, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, they
Um,
usually do a lot worse.
They
Yeah,
also they like
Oh man.
also you have to bear in mind like draft wise like OTA ran full like Cinecomp, so
Yeah, they
like they're gonna be behind early, so it's hard
Okay.
to like, look good. Like,
I'm
There's so
going
many
to
factors
backtrack
here.
a little bit. That
So
is
hard.
not the best representation of skill for katanas at all. I agree. And OTA didn't look good in that series at all. And I understand
Okay.
why.
Poor
I understand
Smax were
why-
ganging up on you.
I understand why you would say that OTA is not very good. I think OTA's bot lane was really good, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But
Wait, they just joined Akuma, didn't they? Their bot lane?
yes.
They're
That's
going
why you like
They're going for-
No, that's not why. Okay.
They're going for
Oh,
drafts. They're going
No,
for
you made
drafts.
that power rankings.
No, they're on a team, I think. It's like the Claymores or one of.
I don't wanna spoil anything.
Speaking of Akuma trying to pick up all the talent in the game,
Oh
I'm
my
going to
God.
talk about a player here who I think is extremely underrated rather than overrated, and that's J-Web. Because everyone's talking about Striker, being this coin flip jungler. When he's on form, he's insane. But when you look at J-Web, he is the antithesis of Striker. And I think, like, it's something that the Diesel sort of factor, like communication-wise and how he controls games, and like his role in the team as a supportive jungler is really, really, really huge. And that's where I paralleled it with picking up a Tideo Merc and just shoving 5 carry players on a team. Because for me, that's as a coach, like that's not a strategy that will succeed in 80% of scenarios, okay? And like you need to have these players. And for me, like who fit in as supportive players, and for me, that's what J-Web's role is. And I really think J-Web is underrated. Is he like for me one of the best? Like, is he the best jungler here? I wouldn't say so, but is he like one of the better ones? I think it's yet to be shown, and he doesn't get the credit for some of the things he does. And that's my thing on J-Web.
From the
I
outside
agree with
looking
that.
in, J-Web feels consistently average.
That's fair.
I agree, but I kind of disagree in a way.
I think he plays his role really well, so I think he's
Yeah.
consistently better at being average.
Something like that, yeah. Like he's consistently all right, like above
Consistently
average,
a
but not
C+.
good. I don't know the. It's more than average.
He
I
does
think,
his
but it's
job.
yeah, consistent. Yeah, exactly.
Like, I
And
mean,
you
I
need
don't know
those
how
players. I totally agree. If you don't have those players, your team is just gonna look coin flip as fuck. Like it's
He's
Yeah.
just like
that's
a
how it is.
stone brick at the foundation, you know? Like, he always
Yeah.
does his job, and he sets up plays for his team. So I think he's better than average, but he's not, like, super, super good, but he, like, sets everything up for his
Yeah.
team to be
Mhm.
good. So he's just a pylon.
It's like you can't really say anything too bad about Xmithy. You can't really say anything too bad about J-Web other than like, oh, these other guys pop off more than him.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
fair.
I think
Yeah.
it's
I mean, you look how
Yeah.
Team Liquid looked when they lost the Rock. You know
yeah, same thing.
exactly.
My best jungler is Drixa. It's J-Web and Striker merged together like
Make them
Vegeta.
fuse.
like Vegito, but it's Drixa.
If you could do that, like the new mech pilots in TFT,
Absolutely.
yeah.
If I could get
Who would
them
you put in as your
the-
third jungler for that? Because there are 3 of them.
Well, maybe a bit of Bishan. Just a sprinkle. Just a sprinkling of
okay.
Bishan.
Mech pilots are super
J-Web.
cool, by the way. Have you guys played
You
TFT
take-
yet? That game is
You take like the
really
mechanics
cool
of
now.
Striker on a good coin flip, the brain of Bishan, and the consistency of G-Web. There you go.
Yeah.
You have the.
Like for me, it's really hard to like talk about these guys without like acknowledging that they both have faults. Like I think
Yeah.
J-Web could definitely like try to up the tempo a little bit more in certain games. Like try to play like he's very risk averse, and that's good. Like when we need it. But there are times when I feel like maybe you could have punished that a little bit harder. But then like I have the exact opposite with Striker, when it's like if it's a risk, he's taking it. Like he's going for it. Like he will take the risk. He'll come out on top a lot of like some games every time, and he'll look like a fucking Smurf. But like there are times when it's like, Jesus, Striker, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what was that? So again, like I think like for me personally, like it impacts how I would rate them as players. I both think they're really good though, and I think they would be starting junglers on any other team that wasn't the other 3 in the playoffs. I think any other team, like they would easily be starting junglers.
I agree.
I can agree to that. Yeah, I think there's definitely a reason that we agree that the jungle pool is the strongest. It's all 5 of these guys are really impressive. But it is now time for us to rate them. The number 1 and
Top
number
2.
2. Yeah. Let's just go in the same order. Keep it the same. So
Okay.
yeah.
My number 1 is actually Bishan. It's not Striker or J-Web. It's Bishan. I think he has the complete package. I think to me he looks like budget striker. It's budget striker is Bishan. My number 1 would be the combination of Striker and J-Web, but my number 1 of these 5 as individuals is definitely Bishan, and then my number 2 is actually J-Web. I think Striker would easily be my number 2 if he didn't have some of the games when he's just not in it.
Yeah.
Because
We
there are
watched
times
the
when
Zach
J-Web
game.
Striker will come out of a game and be like, "Yo, bench me next game." Like I'm not on form right now. Like just take me out. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine. Like because that's how he is. But like there are some games when he's on, he's on. You know, like,
Yeah.
and that's what's really nice about our team is that we have, if Striker's off, put J-Web in, we know what we're getting. And we're getting it every time. And we have that great, like, they complement each other so well as a duo of junglers. And, like, it's really hard to get players to buy into the idea that they are the starting jungler and not really a sub, both of them. And they are both integral parts. Like, as far as I'm concerned, like, they are both just as valuable. And it's really hard to get players to buy into that, so credit to both of them for doing that. But yeah, Bishan's definitely my number 1, and the second is J-Web. It would be Striker on form, but Striker isn't always on form, so it's going to be J-Web.
Sweet.
I just can't comment on Turtle and Doubtful. I think there's not enough. Like, I need to see more. I need to see Doubtful not being funneled and against a good jungler at the same time.
It's
And
fine. You're gonna put the Turtle the second after the.
I need to see Turtle in like a controlled game where, like, how do I, like, I need to see him play more.
Yeah. All right, Tron.
So Bishan number 1. I think he's the most consistent. I think he carries a lot, and I think everyone knows he carries a lot.
Yep.
He always talks out his decisions out loud while we're playing, and we all feed off of that. Calls out invade and stuff pretty quickly. Number 2, only if this happens, but I'm gonna say doubtful when he gets funneled. When he's not funneled, it obviously looks shaky, and like. Again, you say he didn't get funneled versus OTA or whatever, but at the same time, OTA is OTA.
Klepto-bismal.
Yeah.
Klepto-abysmal.
He's just Klepto
Klepto-abysmal.
now.
Yeah.
He's just Klepto. Just
Okay,
changed. So.
Okay, so
did do
abysmal
that.
is now gone.
Yeah. So I'm going to say doubtful number 2 only when he is funneled because he gets a lot of resources he's able to carry, which makes him good, I guess. I don't know. So I'm going to say number 2. But again, I don't really know Turtle that well. And, like, I've seen Striker and J-Web both on and off, so that's why I have my
All right.
wording.
Aerys.
Well, mine is pretty obvious. Turtle number 1, for all the reasons I've already spoke about, and Bishan number 2. I have a very high opinion of Bishan. I think he's really good, and I think this is the least questionable top 2. Even if all 5 of the junglers are very good, I think all 5. If we made like a top 20 list of all the players left, all the junglers would rank kind of high. But these 2 are definitely a cut above the rest.
Bishan was
And I
extremely underrated on the top 20 list, by the way.
Yeah.
Just on that.
Not by
And
me.
I think after semis, you're all gonna agree with me. So we'll leave it at that. But I think after semis, you're all gonna put Turtle either number 1 or 2 for sure. So there you go.
All right. I'm there now. Actually, I'm gonna put Turtle in number 2.
He just convinced you? You listened to
No.
his spiel and he just convinced you? Is that what happened?
Just based on how he's looked. Like I said,
Let me guess.
I'm
Doubtful number 1.
number 1 is Bishan.
I'm kidding. Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Okay.
I think
I'll-
we all agree on
I'll-
Bishan being number 1 then, or in the top 2 at least.
Yeah,
That's
in the
cool.
top 2.
Credit to him. That's a big achievement.
I'm gonna go for I'll talk about Turtle first. Like I said before, I haven't seen him all that much, but he has been very, very consistently that pop-off player. I think that he looks like a lesser version of Striker popping off, except he doesn't have any downtime for Turtle. So I'm really high on Turtle. I think he sets up for Steel City phenomenally well. I think as like a standard mid jungle that isn't being funneled at all, I think they are the best mid jungle duo that we have right now.
I agree.
With Steel City, and yeah, I'm super high on those 2, and it wouldn't be there without Turtle. I think it looks really, really good. I'm glad that Steel City's not jungling anymore. But
Same.
yeah.
I think he's glad too.
Yeah, I'm sure he's glad as well. Welcome
You
back.
literally said.
Welcome back to the
send
team,
him out of the
Turtle.
jungle or what?
But yeah, Bishan's definitely my number 1.
Kinda.
I think that right now, he looks the best out of all of the junglers by a lot. And that's like obviously game 2 against Size was just completely stunning. That display of jungle was pretty nasty.
Beat for MVP.
And like all fairness to Kaz, like I don't think Kaz is like to be like okay. If I'd seen Doubtful do that to Klepto, I would have different opinions of Doubtful maybe, but I didn't, and that's what I was expecting out of Doubtful.
Yeah.
Like everyone hypes up Doubtful, they hype up Corona, and then I'm like, where is it? Like, is it coming now? Like, when are they gonna pop off? Like, when's Doubtful gonna shit on Klepto? And it's like it didn't really happen. Especially after I just watched 8th of Magnum versus Klepto, and I saw that stuff, and I'm sure Doubtful saw that stuff too, and was like, God, how do you not, ruin them?
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you put Bichon against Klepto, it would have been.
Oh my God, that would have been an absolute slaughter.
Yeah, no, I mean that happened in our games during the regular season.
There's one thing I have to say about Bichon though. If you take him out of that Go Next roster, I would be worried for them in this stage.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
I think Bichon is just
wasn't there.
good
That
player.
roster, I feel like they could lose direction maybe. Because I know what Tron's talking about when he says about like Bichon's communication.
Yeah.
And I've seen, I can't remember what it was. I think it was months ago. I think I saw like a month ago you guys were screaming with Aerys or something.
Yeah.
Tron?
Yeah.
I remember I was watching your stream. And like the team just didn't look the same without Bichon. I really think Bichon makes a huge difference in that.
I fully agree.
Role.
Bichon is probably the most frequent talker on that team, and he is definitely the loudest. So
yeah.
Loudest is the word for it. Yeah.
He is very loud.
He yells.
But yeah, he's just very, very good. So I think his shot calling is just super good too. And
it's interesting that in our strongest role we all agreed who was the strongest. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So all credit to Bichon for that.
Yeah, I'm really impressed by Bichon. I think that he's gonna bring Go Next to the finals. Sorry, Teatime.
I'll see it.
But anyway,
I didn't say it.
He didn't say it. That was me.
I know. All fairness, like Go Next did well to get here. They beat Akuma Science.
Yeah. But anyway, let's. Do we have any other things to say about the jungle before we move to mid?
I'm looking forward to seeing Bichon versus Turtle in the 3rd place though. That'll be fun.
Oh, I actually, because I am the Akuma rep, I should probably mention why I'm putting Doubtful out of the top 2. I think that Bichon right now looks a lot more consistent than Doubtful does, and I had Bichon at 8 on my top 20, and I had Doubtful at 3. But as of right now, I think
Doubtful at 3. What the?
Because he got funneled every game and he went like 20 kills.
He didn't get funneled every game, but he was in Trash's division. I'll give you that. But he didn't play funnel all of those games in Trash's division.
Griffin was.
Go back and watch. Go back and watch.
Kidding.
But yeah, top 20 list aside, I think that Doubtful definitely. I was defending it before, but he definitely did look off of form in the game in the series against OTAG, and yeah, I agree. I was definitely expecting something more against Klepto Bismol, but he didn't really show it. So
I mean, you could make an argument that maybe he didn't need to because they were winning anyway.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. Like I don't think Doubtful will ever lose you the game. Like
those games didn't look as like decisive as I would have liked. Like I feel like there were chances when OTA were like, actually they could win this game. Like this is a soft winnable for OTA.
All 3 of them I thought.
Like, there's definitely soft winnable a few of those games, and I feel like had Doubtful done to Klepto what I expected him to do, they wouldn't have been soft winnable at all.
Right.
So
I agree.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move over to the mid lane. So this role we've only got 4 players, which is going to be the last time. The next few have more, but our 4 in the mid lane that we're going with are Steel City for Soulbound, Messiah mid for Go Next, Fancy Italian for Essentia, and then Klexo for Akuma Katanas. And these guys are pretty hype. All 4 of these guys have a lot of hype behind them, a lot of excitement. So like I think we have 4 pop-off players, which is pretty sweet. And I think we haven't seen it yet from Messiah too, which I'm really excited about. And we haven't seen it in a bit from Klexo either, except for the Nocturne game, obviously. So we've definitely been seeing it from Steel City very consistently, and we've been seeing it from Fancy too. But I'm really excited for the time that Messiah just goes boom and he just like punches people to the ground. I'm really excited for when that happens. I know it's coming. So
I thought Messiah was actually really, really good in that
he definitely was.
quarterfinal, though.
Yeah,
Like,
he was solid.
he was put on Lissandra and he 1v9, basically. At least in, I think, game 2, right?
Yeah.
Was it game two?
No, Sancho was game 1.
Game 1, yeah. Game 1.
Game 1.
Because game 2 was
Yeah,
Bishan's
like,
1v9.
I think there was a time, I remember distinctly, like, it was mid lane, like, Bishan hard got a pick, and then Bishan continued to go, and, like, dove their mid lane tier 1, and, like, the fight looked pretty doomed, because Azir, like, ulted Bishan back in or something.
Yeah.
But then Messiah came in and saved the whole game, like, just wiped the enemy team completely with Lissandra. Like,
It was pretty
he definitely has his performances. Like, Messiah's a really, really good player. Because I've not just seen him just now. It might be hard for maybe Aerys because you might not know him. But, like, I've seen Messiah play before. I think on Ego.
No, I don't know him much. I think he
it
looks
was on
solid.
Ego.
Yeah.
I think it was on Ego, but he's played with Bishan before. And, yeah, Messiah's really good. I think he played GP a lot. GP mid was his, like, signature pick. And he was really good at Now his signature pick is Graves mid. I don't know.
Yeah,
This
the
guy just
Graves.
seems to... Messiah seems to just like latch himself onto one pick and play only that pick from now on. Like, I will only play this one
Oh,
champion.
no. So here's the thing. So I asked him, like...
He has like something wrong with him, I think.
I go Messiah.
He's slightly
Why,
psychopathic.
why do you play Graves mid? He goes, I like the troll. I swear. He says he likes the troll.
I asked him in the interview. This is why I think there's like a cog missing. Like, oh, this guy's about to like go off on someone. Like I asked him in the interview. I was like, so Messiah, how come you go lethality Graves and not like the lifesteal Graves that everyone's raving about? And he's like, I like lethality.
Yeah, that's it.
That was
I'm
it.
telling you.
That was it.
He's so quiet, and like even in comms, he's just very quiet. But he has so much like control over the game at all times.
Yeah. I agree.
And like he doesn't need to even talk about it because like everyone knows what he's doing or like what he has the chance to do. So if calls are made, he will speak up if he needs to, but he just goes with it and just is consistent with it. Like he's super solid. Super solid.
I really like Messiah. I think I really look forward to seeing him play. It's actually okay. The mid lane for me is my strongest role. Actually,
strongest. I would say
Yeah.
that this is the closest, but I would say that jungle's stronger as a whole. I think
this is really hard to differentiate.
I think it's really hard because
they
I think
all
they're
have
very,
different
very
strengths
close.
massively.
Yeah.
I think the closest in style is maybe Fancy and Steel City, but I think Messiah and Klexo are just different types of players, and they have their own credit for that. Messiah Klexo kind of reminds me of like the champions he plays. Reminds me of who's the mid laner who won Worlds?
Tron.
No,
You're talking about
Doinby.
wait.
Doinby.
Yeah.
Just because Klexo plays like these Ivans, and like whatever his team needs, he'll do it. And I really like that about him. I really like that about him.
I do
Like
too.
they're running Olaf Yumi, okay, I'll play Lulu, like or just win. Like he doesn't care if he's having fun, he just wants wins, and I like that a lot about Klexo.
Well, winning is fun, so
Yeah.
maybe not for coronavirus on Rumble 3 games, but yeah, it's fun for everyone else.
I mean, they won.
They did win. Yeah.
That's all we can say. They won.
But yeah, I think Klexo is the chameleon that they really do need on this team. Like you're saying that for top lane, Elvis and Diesel do that for you for Essentia and for Soulbound.
He's the
I
rock.
think Klexo does that for this team, and I think he does that so frequently and so consistently good as well. Like he does it on Lulu and he does it on Ivern, but he also did it on Nocturne. He does it on the carries too. Like last split, he did it on Akali. So I think he's a phenomenal mid laner, and his style is just way different from the other three, and yeah, I think it's really hard to like compare him to the rest of them because he definitely does different things, but all of these mid laners are really, really key to their team and just pop off really well. Like I guess the least you can say that about is Messiah because we've seen him the least on this team, but he still looks really good on like the control mages, and he played Graves. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
I think what's really cool about Klexo.
Okay, but that Go Next game 3
Yeah.
Go Next game 3 draft reminded me of that like Pantheon Talia bot lane Kiwi Graves mid.
Yeah,
You guys
true.
do that game 3. You guys have a habit of doing that in game 3 and still winning. I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, but
pretty funny.
I think what's really cool about Klexa is he's also really young. He's like 14 or 15. Like he's like a freshman in high school or something, and he's like playing pretty well and keeping up with some of these. I don't know if older is even like a character, but like
Is Doubtful his
they
older
play
brother?
Longer, you know.
Doubtful
Yeah,
is Doubtful is 14. Klexo is 16.
Oh, is that what it is?
Oh, Klexos is the okay. Well,
Okay.
it would have made way more sense.
Regardless.
It would have
regardless.
made way more sense to me if Doubtful was the older brother and Klexo was the younger brother, because then in my mind it'd be like, hey, little brother, come play League, come play Ivan, come play Lulu, and buff me up. Like, that's what I would do.
Young, though, you know?
If I had a little brother who played League, that's what I would have him do. Like, that would be really funny. But no, if it's the other way around, that's nice. He's,
Come
you know,
play
he's like,
Luigi.
Come on, little bro. Come on, little bro. I'll buff you
I'll
up.
be
You
Mario.
stupid.
You know what the biggest slap in the face to little brothers is Mario Galaxy, when the older brother's playing Mario and the younger brother gets to play the Wiimote pointing with the stars. That's the funniest shit in the whole world. I was the older brother though, so I was fine with it.
You weren't having fun, so it's fine.
Anyway.
But yeah, that's funny though. Yeah. For me, it's like you got three different types here. Like you have like a kind of assassin, like coin flip player, which is Steel City and Fancy. I would classify them as. I mean, Steel City can play Vladimir too and Rumble, but his mid lane pool is like a top lane pool. But he's got a couple of things like Akali and
He's a top laner.
yeah, he's got Akali and Yasuo, Vladimir. Yeah, so he's got a bit of an assassin-y kind of vibe. That's what I get from Fancy. Messiah for me is like control mages are us. Like you got Victor, Syndra, Vladimir, that jazz. And then Plexo is like my kind of supportive mid laner. So it's really hard to rank them because they all do such different roles in their teams.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's like it's hard to differentiate them, but I think they're all really, really good. I think they're all good players.
Yeah,
I think mid lane is the second strongest pool after jungle.
I agree.
For me, it's the strongest, I think.
And then jungle?
Jungle
I only
is
put it. Well, for me, it's hard because I don't rate Total and Diefall that highly. Partially because I don't know them very well. I think J-Web is really, really good, but I think Bishan is really, really good. But and then after that, I've got J-Web for the role that he fulfills. But then, yeah. So for me, that's why I think mid lane is my strongest role.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But still, yeah.
So we haven't really dove into Steel City and Fancy all that much. Of course, I think both of their most played champion is Yasuo at this point.
I don't think so for Fancy. It's always banned.
Really?
Always banned.
I mean, I guess. I'm pretty sure he's played it a lot still, though, right?
I think we've only played 2 games.
That's kind of.
It's only been open twice.
It feels like a lot because it's banned against him a lot.
It feels like a lot because it always gets mentioned. It's always banned. Yeah.
I mean, Steel City Yasuo?
Yeah, it's definitely Steel City's most. That's for sure.
I think Steel City's Yasuo is made to look really good by the fact that Turtle is a really good Gragas player.
But he's also a very good Yasuo player. I think they're both very good at those champions.
I give a lot of credit to Turtle's Gragas when it comes down to Steel City's Yasuo. So it's like one of those things where it's like, is it all Doubtful or is it all Glexo? Like it's like, you know, it's hard to differentiate where the credit's due. Like I don't think we played against Steel City's Yasuo. I think I've only seen it against like TFT. So it's kind of hard to judge.
Yeah, it kind of got banned after.
Yeah. It got banned after that. So
I mean,
it's
if you make it to finals,
it's
you can
difficult to say that he's like really good at that. But like his rumbles look really good. His Vladimirs look really good. So like I think still like again I can't like for me I'm gonna leave Steel City out of my rankings because I've seen him jungle and be 5 levels down on Java, so I can't rank him. I actually just cannot rank this man. This is no play. No.
I mean, you also got a quote.
Kind of a Phil
game,
guy.
by the way. I'm salty that they won that game. We trolled that draft so hard, by the way. I just want to clarify. But yeah, they won that game, so...
Steel City, 5 levels down, Warrior.
Wins the game. Warrior,
if it was him, it would be yelling, it was 4, not 5, 4!
I think he was like... Was that him who said that?
Yeah, it's him. It's him who says it's 4.
He,
I don't know. I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was 5.
I think it was 5 at one point. It might have just like been 4 point something, and then it like capped over.
Yeah.
But the... like he built like Warrior Hex Drinker Stone Plate or something stupid. Like
yeah, I mean, jungle is worst role.
Yeah,
out of all the
Jungle
5.
Kingdom as well.
Yeah, so I mean, you saw him play Yasuo bot as well. Like he popped off on it. Yeah, his support is also pretty good. Like
actually, he did really well. So
I mean, if he plays it bot, he can play it mid. You know.
Yeah.
The color is
Um,
also very
He's
good.
played
Like
Bard too. Is he gonna pull that out mid?
Yeah.
maybe. I mean,
Oh, wait,
5-4
has
Bard
he
Flex
played
exists
Bard?
in Soulbound.
No, he
Yeah.
hasn't played.
But that was
Bard.
Elvis. That was
He
Elvis.
hasn't
Oh
played
yeah, that
Bard.
was Elvis. That was
Bard
Elvis.
versus Ivern.
Yeah, there you go. I want to see it.
Just saying.
Maybe I don't want to see it actually.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, I definitely don't. I definitely don't.
That'd be boring.
We had like a 1v1 tournament at Phoenix Rising in like December, and one of them was a Yumi versus Yumi 1v1.
That sounds terrible.
And
I think I
that
saw
was the-
Tyler want to do that.
That was the worst thing I've ever casted in my life.
Yumi's gonna throw the key. Okay, this is pointless because he's
Yeah,
just pressing E.
That was terrible. I don't know
I
why
mean,
I brought it
doesn't
up.
Yumi
I don't want
do-
to talk about it anymore.
Yumi doesn't do enough damage to kill another Yumi, right?
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I'm really looking forward to hearing what you guys think of Fancy. Like, without me saying anything, I'm really curious.
Well, I know Fancy from the past and like through scrims or just like when we had Go next to Cynthia, trying or not tryouts there, but playing against like sounds and stuff. And so I kind of seen his play style, and I think he's very. I think if he gets the right support
When he was up against a challenger
No. I've seen him besides that too.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna defend my boy.
No, you're good. When
I'm unadulterated, by the way. Go speak.
when he has support from his jungler, I think he plays really well, especially when he roams into enemy jungles with his jungler. I think he plays it really well, and I think he's a really good team fighter. His lane is strong if he gets an early lead, but if he goes even, I don't think his laning is like amazing. And I think he works with his jungler really well just throughout the game. So that's my thought on him.
Yeah, I think Fancy and Striker, when they pop off, it is very, very difficult to find a mid jungle duo that will just be that far ahead and like just take over the game at that point. I mean, we saw it a little bit from Bishan Messiah too, but that was mostly Bishan. But I think Striker on form and Fancy Italian with that support is terrifying. So yeah, that's really cool to see. I think Fancy lives his lane on edge, and he will go the extra mile to make the other laner feel uncomfortable, which is really valuable in a mid laner. I think that's really, really cool. And
I see
when it
so
works,
many mid laners. Yeah, I see so many mid laners. Like, okay, now like we're in competitive game, just auto shove lane, sit on the tower.
Yeah.
Auto shove lane, sit on the tower.
He
I
doesn't
see
do
that
that.
so often. Yeah, and I agree.
Yeah, I really like that about him. I really like that he's willing to just make the other laner do something that they're not really like. He knows what their game plan is, and he knows to make sure that they have the hardest time doing that. Sometimes by doing that, he opens himself up to getting ganked and dying, and when that happens, definitely looks worse.
But I think when he does get ganks or gets ganked and he has a counter gank there, I think they win that 2v2 almost all the time.
I agree.
You know what I mean? So
It is quite scary to gank Fancy.
I want to see you guys just take a whole series where you play mid jungle and you don't have your jungler go anywhere else, because I think that is the peak Essentia from the outside looking in.
That's fair.
I mean, for me, when I look
I'm
at
not going to
Fancy,
give anything away.
Fancy
You
and
don't have
Cassio, Fancy and Cassio is probably the best mid in here. Fancy on off day are a lot of champions. Fourth, that's how I see him. Like he's very hard to grasp. Like again, like when I talked about him in other places or in other stuff, he's that pop-off player where he's randomly gonna turn, like for example a gank, or he's gonna split push and 1v3 people, or like 1v2 people alone, and just win it. And then everyone is like, how did you do that? Like, right? And that kind of player can be that they're very scary to deal with, right? Those kind of pop-off players. But I also think that his playstyle and the way he just overextends non-stop is so easy to punish that I can't put him too high. You know, like it's not just being coin flip. It's kind of how he's willing to take any fight all the time. He can be baited very easily, and I don't know if he fucks up once, or if people actually manage to outplay him. Like if he's against someone that's better than him, I don't think he's gonna do good at all. Like That's how I view him at least. So I put him in my top 20. I think when he's on, he's extremely scary. He's a very big pop-off player. He's a super big threat in the mid lane. But I also feel like he's even more coin flip in a way than Strixer is, just because of how much like he can be punished by how he plays. So that's kind of how I view him. This insanely high highs and very low lows players that
I agree.
can make or break a game.
I think his highs are really, really good though. Like
Yeah.
I think his lows, like there was a game last split where it felt like he was just demanding to the team that he side lane on Vel'Koz, and that wasn't very good.
I mean, stop putting him on Talia for honest here. Don't do it.
Yeah, I don't want to see his Talia again. That's a tip for free.
Don't do it, T.
I want to see him play champions where he can win the lane, and Talia's not that.
I mean, he plays Cassio, you 1v2s, he plays Talia, he ends all the game, so...
I like his Kiana. I think his Kiana's really good.
I mean, Kiana fits his playstyle a lot more than Talia, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because you can't get Mobies as early anymore, so it makes it so he has to play in his lanes a little bit more.
Goddamn laning.
Which is better for him, I think. But yeah.
I think one of the things about Fancy is it can be really scary to gank him. Because you don't know, if you don't know where Striker is, and you're ganking Fancy, you could be tossing the whole game right
True.
there. Like, and that's kind of scary. Because if Striker's around the corner and you're ganking Fancy, it's like, uh-oh. Because Fancy gets a 2-0 lead, the game's over.
Yeah.
Like, he's just going to take over, so...
Yeah,
but I agree that there are times when it looks really bad for Fancy. Like, he can look inty.
Yeah.
But for me, I think I would rather have that than and have to like taper that back a little bit than have like I would much rather have someone I'm trying to taper back than someone who is just breaking their pants because the enemy's like trying to trade with them and they like just end up sitting on the tower game. Because I see that a lot in competitive, particularly out of good mid laners too. Like I see good mid laners who come up against someone who like wants to trade with them and they're like just trying to sustain and just like auto wave clear, like I'm gonna keep up my CS, and like that's all they want to do. Whereas Fancy's like, I'm gonna win this game. Like I'm trying to win this game right now.
Yeah.
So that's I give a lot of credit on that.
I do too. I think his playstyle is really cool, and it's not something that you see too often in leagues like this. So I'm really impressed by him. I think that his highs are good enough to make him worth mentioning. You know, when you're talking about the best mids in the league. And,
worth mentioning.
Okay.
We only got 4 left. We've only got 4 left.
Yeah, we only have 4. Unless
league,
you consider North, but we're gonna put him in AD.
I mean, I player.
But anyway, yeah. Or should we get into the rankings, or is anything else?
Yeah, I think.
All right, sweet. We'll start with you again, T. Top 2 mids.
My number 2. I'm gonna give it to Messiah. I think I would like to put Klexo here or Steel City, but Steel City I can't put in my number 2, and it's really hard. Like this is a really hard selection. I can't put Steel City in my number 2 because of the jungle thing, not because he's a bad jungler, but because I don't think I've seen him play in the mid enough, and I also think his champion pool is not a mid laner's champion pool. So like he's a top laner. Okay, I can't put him in my top 2 for mid, and that's why I would cross him out. Do I think he could potentially like be on form, like in a game where he pops off? He could easily look like the best mid in the league, Steel City. But he's probably like I can't even bother ranking between Klexo and him because it's just there's too many factors there. But Klexo again, like for his role in the team, could easily be the best in the mid. Like if he does his role so well, like he does what he needs to do. He gives Doubtful everything. Doubtful pops off. It works, right? But like in a scenario where it calls on him to carry, yes, he carried on against OTA as Nocturne, but like with the comp built around the Nocturne completely. But is he going to be able to do that in a comp where maybe it isn't built around to him and it's like comes down to him as a mid laner to be a main carry? Because I think mid lane is one of the main carry roles in the game right now. You could definitely play a supported style and be really well. Doinby showed that like perfectly at Worlds last year. But yeah, so those 2 are my bottom 2, and then my top 2 are 2 is Messiah, and then number 1 is Fancy. So Messiah, I think, is a really good player. I think his biggest weakness comes from him. I think he kind of just plays. it's hard to explain because I've not seen him play too much, but he kind of seems like ever so slightly offbeat with his team. Like ever so slightly. Like it's hard to explain. Like he's slightly late to something because he's picking up a wave, or he's like the enemy mid's roaming and he's not like calling anything. But I do think he's really, really good. Like the Graves obviously wasn't that great, but like when they have Graves, like I wanted to see Graves like hard shoving and invading loads, but it felt like he was kind of just following Bichan's lead, and but he was quite off. Like I think they only did it like a couple times and they didn't really get anything from it. Even though they still won the game, like I don't know. I wanted to see like because I know Graves mid is like actually kind of sleeper.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to see more of that, but like his Lissandra performance was really, really good. And I know his Vladimir gets banned out every single game, so like I would dread to see him on that Vladimir particularly. So yeah, I rate him really high. And then Fancy, I think Fancy like solo wins games, and he kind of like he has this aura about him where like I said, like if you're trying to punish him, you might find yourself in unstuck. Like sometimes he ints for sure, but like he has those clutch moments. Like he'll hit a game-winning charm. Like he'll play Glacialari in Game 5 and pop off. And actually, while you might not earn him an MVP, he can do the job of the supportive mid laner. When push comes to shove, he can do it. Okay.
Okay.
And that's why I rate Francis my number 1.
Okay. All right, Tron.
Sign number 1. I kind of touched on that earlier about how he plays and stuff. So I think he's really good, really solid. Definitely controls the lane, controls the game, and like I said before, I think he is almost always in control about where he's at, where his positioning is. I've only seen him really get caught out once or twice, like actually caught out once or twice. Besides that, I think he's really solid. I'm gonna say number 2 is Steel City Warrior. I think he's a really good player. I like that he can flex spot, especially with the Yasuo pick. And I really enjoy that he's aggressive, but he's only aggressive when the time needs to be aggressive. When he has a jungler kind of lurking behind, he knows how to bait someone and then like go full aggro and kind of make a play happen. So I'm gonna put him at number 2 for me.
Very nice. All right, Aerys.
All right. This is hard.
It's really hard. I don't even know what
This
I'm
one's
gonna say yet.
really hard.
I'm glad I'm last.
It is the hardest, yeah. Well, first of all, I'm gonna leave Messiah out because I saw 3 games from him the whole time.
Sure.
So I can't put him number 2 when I didn't see enough. But honestly, my opinion of him was he looked incredibly consistent. I talked about how much I value consistency. Well, he was that. So yeah, I have a high opinion of him as well. I can't wait to see what he's gonna do. But I can't put him top 2 when I don't know much more about him.
Sure.
And then for the same reason, I'm not gonna put Fancy top 2 either. While I think Fancy when he's on is the undoubtedly the number 1 on this list, I also think that I can't justify putting him above Steel City and Calexo, which is again it's really I've seen Fancy do so much heavy lifting that he could definitely be number 1, but I don't know. And then my first 2 is number 2 Calexo and number 1 Steel City. I think Calexo is really good. He impressed me a lot, both when I watched their games during the season and in quarters. I think he was the best performing member of AKM in the quarters. When everyone looked rough, he was popping off. Not just on the Nocturne, I think he played extremely well all 3 games. And he was the glue that held them together during those games. So I'm going to put him at number 2. Him being able to play that support style where they have like 2 very big carries in the top side also is very good for the team. And then number 1 Steel City. I think no one is even close to how good Tony can be. Besides Fancy, of course, when he's on. But Steel City just like he has a couple of champions that if he picks it, he auto wins the game. If he ever gets Yasuo, it's literally game over. He is incredibly good mechanically, and him and Best Turtle have an insane synergy, which is why I'm ranking him this high, because I actually think their synergy works better when he's playing mid, just because of how much they can impact the map more. Even if he is a top laner, he has 6 or 7 champions that can work mid. which is honestly enough and more than some actual mid laners. So him and Besseril are gonna like with him mid is just put him at number 1 easily.
All right.
But individually, yeah, number 1.
Yeah, that's kind of the same reason I couldn't rank Steel City. Is that like it's
Mhm.
hard to tell how much of it is him and how much of it is Turtle, like
Yeah.
from an outsider's perspective. But
I can say that it's both because I think they're both insane. Obviously, I put them both of my number 1s. But I've seen Tony play without Turtle, and he is still very good. Like his mechanics are.
he's
insane.
definitely a very good mechanic.
Yeah, he's a pop off player. Of course, he's resource dependent and stuff, but that works very well within Soulbound. But if we just look at him individually, as you said, he's kind of the same kind of player as Fancy, but I think he has like maybe not as high highs, but much lower lows. So I just think he's so good. Yeah.
I do find it funny that you say you rate consistency so high, but if you look at Soulbound's performances, I feel like you get the exact opposite of the
Yeah.
consistency.
They consistently
But I'm
win.
ranking the both. Yeah, I'm ranking
But you,
members
so
of Soulbound that are
it seems kind of
consistent.
contradictory whenever you say
Yeah,
that.
it is. You're right with that.
Soulbound are really, really erratic gamers, like they're really coin flip.
But
like,
it's not inconsistent.
Yeah.
I think they're
They're
consistently winning.
consistently coin flipping heads. I can't wait for them to consistently
Yeah.
coin flip tails, dude. Like,
Oh man.
I really hope Akuma Katana show up. Like, I feel like Akuma
I mean, I hope too
Katana's-
because this series.
Well,
is
yeah,
Give
I
me a
want it to
banger.
be a good series because I don't want Elvis to go. When does this get hard after they get 3-0? If they 3-0 another team, like if they 3-0 another team just underperforming, I'm gonna be kind of salty about it because I feel like it's like, man, like come on, Katanas, you were the hope, man. Like you were meant to bring them down.
Yeah.
Like how do they flip heads every time? Just let them flip tails once, please. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, it's fine. It's fine. All right. So for my top 2, I'm still a little bit unsure what I'm gonna say here. I think all four of them
They're
are
all
really
different
good.
though, and like for me,
Yeah.
The reason I put Fancy number 1 is because I know he can. He doesn't have to be the style that we know. You guys know him as. Like I
Yeah.
know he can be something else,
Okay.
as well. So
Well, then I can't wait to see it as well.
we did see it, Game 5.
It would be cool. No, it would be cool if Essential actually won, so we could have a Cinders finals. You know.
Honestly, that would be the
right?
biggest grudge match I've ever had. Like, yeah.
That'd be pretty nice.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be in the 3rd place match, but
Ooh, I can't wait.
Oh, I doubt it.
Honestly, though,
I
the
think-
third place match and the finals are going to be just as fun to watch. Like, regardless
Yeah.
of who's playing.
I think
If it's
Yeah.
Go Next versus
all of the
Soulbound
rest of the
in
matches are
third
gonna be
place or
super good.
finals, like I honestly the two remaining series,
the 4 remaining
the
series.
4 remaining series are all going to be good series. I'm really
I agree.
excited for it.
Me too.
Go next versus Soulbound finals. I'm calling it.
Anything could be good. Like even like Go Next versus Soulbound in third place or finals, I will be watching the whole thing because it will be so entertaining. Like
Yeah.
Ascension versus Soulbound would be good. I'm not really that interested in Katanas, no flame, but you guys are kind of boring. They got no grudge with anyone. Just like they're just Akuma.
They definitely have a grudge
Everyone-
with Go Next.
Everyone roots against Akuma because they're like I don't know how to say it. It's like they're not.
They're
Everyone else
the
is the other.
Chads, bro. They want all the clout.
They just
They're
I
the
don't know.
Pikes of the fraternities. Everyone
Yeah.
hates Pike, but everyone wants to be one of them. I mean, I didn't say that.
All right. So my top 2 for mid, I am going to put my number 1 as Klexo because I am really, really impressed with how he works with the rest of this team. I think that his chameleon style is still really, really consistently good for this team. And whether he's playing the supports or carry, I think he is that glue for this team a lot of the time, and I'm constantly impressed by it. I think it's definitely been shown here against OTA, where when everyone else was definitely looking like less consistent versions of themselves and less on form, he was still there popping off in that series, and I think that that's really, really important for this team, and I think this team wouldn't work the same without him. I mean, there's really no argument against that as well, because he plays the support funnel for Doubtful, but he can just play the carries too, and I'm really impressed by Klexo all the time. So he's gonna be my number 1. My number 2 is equally as hard as putting number 1. My number 2 is going to be Messiah. I'm gonna put Messiah there. I have not seen very much of him at all, but I think that what we've seen from him so far has been him joining a new team, and whenever you join a new team, you kind of just autopilot what you usually do and try to just fit in with what the team needs. And if that's his autopilot, then like I don't know, man. I think what we're about to see is going to be pretty catastrophic. So
I think on that note though, he has played a lot with Bichon in the past though. So
yeah,
like
yeah,
there's a and Bichon is like the main person like as a mid laner you have to synergize with is the
I
jungler.
agree.
So it's not like he's completely
Yeah,
fresh there.
autopilot's definitely a strong word.
He's not holding
but-
back some insane like get ahead of
Yeah.
yourself, Smax.
But yeah, I agree. But I think if he, I think if he
really
just
rate
plays,
Messiah, though.
yeah,
I rate
I
him
think
super
I think all four of these players are super good. But yeah, I think Messiah is. I think we've yet to see him explode, and when he does, I am going to be happy to be there because I think it's going to be a banger for sure. So, yeah, that's a little bit of a hopeful answer, but yeah, I still think the Steel City and Fancy are really really good, and they could very easily be the 1 and 2 for me because I think these guys are really really close together. So, yeah, I don't think there's any worst mid laner left. I think they're all super good. So. Yeah, we spent a long time on mids. But yeah, let's hop on over to the bot position for the
We've
bot.
got so many here. We
yeah,
might have to be quick.
we have 6 of them. We're gonna put North here. North and Noah Joe are from Soulbound. We got Demon Yellow from Essentia, Kiwi from Go Next, and June from Katanas. And yeah, let's. I hate to like do these guys like this, but we should probably speed through these a little bit because there are 6 of them. Let's start with North and Noah Joe. Both of these players, I would say, are the least flashy on Soulbound, and because of it, they often take a back seat, and there's not too much to say regarding them because playing AD on a team that always fights and always wins is really easy. Not to like discredit the two of them at all. I think that they do a phenomenal job in that spot, but they don't have to do more than they're asked. And because of that, I can't personally say like two amazing things about either of them really.
I would personally happily put both of them on Varus every game and just have them be another engage option. Like that's how I play these two. Like, okay, I think North was the mid laner, right? He's the one who played Vladimir.
Mm-hmm.
His mid lane's been okay, but do I think he would be anywhere close to the other 4 that we have here? No, I don't think he'd be even in.
I think he would be close, but yeah, not.
I don't see him.
necessarily,
I don't see
yeah.
him being better than any of them. So yeah, I don't really feel the need to talk about him mid lane. AD carry, like yeah. I feel like in Soulbound it's very difficult to be able to stand out AD carry. I think I've seen Noah Joe actually hard int though, once or twice.
Nojo in group stage, Harden had 2 games. Very hard. But he was, from what I know of it, he had not played competitive in a long time, and he had never played with the team. So like those were his first games with Havoc, first game with the team itself. Not that we scrim or anything. So, but he was very out of shape. And then when he played in quarters, he played much better, much closer to what I know he can play. But yeah, he is not.
I'm getting flashback to the first time we played Soulbound. We had they were 6th place, and we thought they were just like a run over team. And I think Steel City was playing AD carry, and I think he made Demon go 0-8. So
Yeah.
Speaking of AD carries inting and Soulbound, that's what I have in my mind. But no offense to Demon.
I hate to say this about Soulbound, but I think the best AD carry on this team is Steel City Warrior.
Me too.
I think so.
Everybody always in the podcast, everyone's like ranking their players above everyone else. Like everyone's been like booting their players up, and then bam, in comes
Nord considers himself a mid laner more than any EDC. So I don't think he's going to be offended by that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Noah
will be offended.
Might be, but I'm not flaming him at all. I just think Tony is very good. It's not flame to him.
Tony's so good.
I still think Noah is better than a lot of the ADCs on that list. Like I would probably put Noah third here. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Just looking at these, so it's no flame to him. I just want to make sure. I'm really not flaming him, but yeah, Tony is a very good ADC because he plays range champions auto attack based, and he's just a good ADC.
Yeah.
Like that's what he does.
I agree. All right, let's move to the essential pair. We got Demon and Yellow. It's hard to talk about Demon because he didn't play at all in the best of 5, and there was 5 games. And yeah, it seems to me that Yellow has been put into the starting position from the outside again. I don't know if that's T's plan, but it seems to me that Yellow Orbit is the preferred bot.
R.I.P. Lapson.
One thing I have to say about Demon though is I think I remember the Akuma Blades series. There were a couple. The first 2 games of that series, the ones we won by the way, were bot difference massively. I think like Laxin and Demon when they are together, has huge potential. But Demon struggles with the fact that he gets overshadowed by Laxin. Laxin will take every kill, even if he's playing Nautilus or Swain. He will take everything.
That's true.
And he will do a shit ton of damage. And Laxin will take all the credit. And Demon enables that.
Has he tried fasting Senna?
I cannot comment on this.
Okay, well, I bet he'd be pretty good at
I
that.
mean, the only thing I can...
Yellow doesn't have that. Yellow
Yeah,
and Laxin is like...
I wouldn't want Yellow on fasting Senna.
I mean, Yellow and Laxton is putting...
Well, Yellow and
people that
Laxton,
want to
they
carry.
both try to overshadow each other, and you end up with nobody shining through in that scenario. But yeah, it's really interesting dynamic like we have, because I feel like if we did the same thing with Orbit and Demon as we did with Yellow and Orbit, Demon would look a lot better. Do I think he would be as good as Yellow? I don't think so. I think Yellow is probably better in team fights, but I think Demon's laning is slightly stronger than Yellow's.
I think Demon should just roll swap to support, man. I don't know. This sounds like
I
good
mean,
qualities
to
of
be
a
fair to
support
Demon,
player.
like he kind of popped off in top lane for us. Like he got us through the regular season as a top laner. So
On Soraka.
like, no, that's not true. Demon played Set. J-Web was the Soraka.
Oh, okay.
J-Web played Soraka top lane in our game. Demon played Set.
Demon, if you're listening,
GP.
just switch to support, man. If you want to lane and you want to be like really good at lane and like help out your duo in the bot lane, that's the position for you. I think you'd be really good at it.
God.
I'll teach you myself. I'm a support player.
Did you just tell one of my AD carries that he needs to roll swap? That is just harsh.
Okay. I mean, you didn't put him in any of the 5 games, so
Yeah.
What's that
I
say?
think there's reasoning behind it that goes deeper.
it's because you wanted to roll swap too, huh?
No,
I mean,
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I think if we look at these 6 ADCs, there's only one thing sure about them, is that if we rank them 1 to 6, Demon is last.
No, I disagree. I think Noah Joe is at the bottom from his int performances.
Oh.
I disagree heavily.
We can talk about it. Well, you can. I thought we were only ranking the top 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Demon is not on my bottom, but it can be on yours. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna make it out anyway.
All right.
No.
Well,
I'm kidding.
let's hop over to Kiwi
No,
now.
no, you can.
We
flame.
didn't
It's
talk
how
about
this
Yellow
works.
though.
Oh wait, we
So
didn't
that's
talk about
one-
Yellow. Yellow.
I mean, there was one
Yellow's
other thing I
pretty
wanted to say. Sorry,
Oh yeah, go
you
ahead.
can go. Okay. There was one other thing I wanted to say about Yellow. I heavily disagree about the fact that everyone says that he has bad laning. I don't think that's true. Because I play with him, I lane with him, and I never lose lane with him. I don't know if it's me, but the way he communicates in lane and the way he manipulates the lane just enables me very hard. Maybe it's just a synergy thing, but I don't think he's bad in lane. Like, I don't know why it's a thing that's said about him, because I feel like he's solid in lane. He's just, the only thing I have against him in lane competitive is that I feel like he doesn't look for plays that much, but he looks for every small advantages, at least when he plays with me, and he doesn't, I don't know. I don't see it when everyone says that he sucks in lane. I do feel like he's not the best player to play weak side, which might be why it's said. But he's playing lane with like or close to zero resources, and he's doing fine. I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
not-
that is true pretty often, where fancy talent usually gets a lot of the attention. So, yeah, I would agree. I think that he gets a lot of flack. It always feels really bad to talk about these two 80s, and everyone pretty universally favors yellow, but like I don't know. I think
It's no
both of
question.
them. I think both of them get a lot of flack a lot of the time. So I don't know. It's really a touchy subject. I feel just talking about it. I don't know if they feel the same as the two players. So maybe they don't. Maybe it's okay.
I think
but
Yellow was partially a victim of Laxon underperforming.
I think so too.
I think there was an element of that. And then Demon just got playing because there were games where Yellow looked really, really good. So it made Demon look bad, I guess. I it's hard to say. But I like Demon was a the Demon took Akuma Blades to Game 5 last season. Like Demon's
true.
not a terrible player.
Yeah. But anyway, let's hop over to Kiwi here. Kiwi, 2-week vacation man. He has
Kiwi.
he's had another pretty good season, I would think. I think that his mechanics have not like similar to it's not similar to B-Way because I think B-Way took a dip. I think while Go Next was taking a dip, Kiwi wasn't really on that. There were definitely games where he kind of ran it, like the Wyoming game with the Malphite, the AP Malphite. That was definitely a game where he kind of ran it. But
Well, I mean, what can he do, man?
no, yeah, he can't do much against that.
What can he do?
It's like Coutinho against the Portugal Kumakatanas thing. It's the same thing.
Man.
But he definitely, you can't say he didn't kind of run it. But no, I think Kiwi's still really consistently good. And yeah, I think his mechanics are really good. I think his champion pool is not quite like optimal for the meta, but the meta's shifting away from the Aphelios Senna style, so I think that favors him. So I like the spot he's in right now. I think he's really good.
I think Kiwi's the only 80 carry that's remaining that can 1v9, if needed to. I think he's the only guy that can actually 1v9, no questions asked.
I agree.
I think Yellow can, but I don't think it's been needed yet because the team's doing so well. But I think he could 1v9. No,
I don't think Kiwi needs to usually either.
I don't think Yellow hasn't had the opportunity to do it yet, but I think he has potential to 1v9. His game 5 against 38 Glacials was pretty good, considering how long he'd been up. It was like a 5-hour series.
I think Kiwi always knows how to do damage and when to do damage, and sometimes he does get caught out, or sometimes he tries to kill someone under tower and he dies, and he's stuck under tower for a little bit on Ezreal. But besides that, I think he always knows how to do damage. If you look at the damage charts, he's almost always at the very top, if not the top, every single game. So
I would say the same about Yellow, but unfortunately, Fancy is taking the damage shots most of the time. But yeah, Yellow does damage.
Yeah, I think the Kiwi's really good. Do you have anything to say about him, Aerys?
I think Kiwi's really good.
Stall, but yeah, I think so as well. Yeah.
Mental needs to be good. I actually don't know what Kiwi would be like in a losing scenario. I feel like that would be where I would not want Kiwi on my team.
I mean, where
No, and Tron's laughing. This guy he knows it's right though. We haven't seen like I don't know what happened in that original series you guys lost, the most recent one. But was that a Kiwi difference or like I don't know. It's like hard to say.
We'll take that on the rug. It's in the regular season. We're in playoffs now.
Wait, I just now realized. I think I was wrong, and I think Jeffrey and so June and Klexo are brothers. I think I was wrong with.
Wait, I thought it was doubtful in Klexo.
It might be.
It doesn't matter. It's
no, you're right. No
relationship.
I think it's doubtful.
I think it is. I'm lost now. They're gonna be upset.
I actually have nothing to say. Like now that you bring up June, I actually have nothing to say about him.
I don't know anything.
June is exactly the same as North and Noah Joe. I think.
Like I have nothing to say about him.
He's worse though. He's worse.
I don't think he's worse. I think he's better than them. But I think it's a very similar situation.
Yeah. I think the June we saw in quarters is better.
I just have zero thoughts on him. I feel like he's maybe overshadowed by Forbidden. Forbidden's good. I think Forbidden's really good. And that's hard.
I've seen Forbidden run it down a few times.
His Tom Kench game for sure.
The Galio game, I remember he went top and he just like ran it down and died instantly.
It'll be really interesting to see North and Ojo against June. And
Forbidden's kind of interesting. He definitely ints with a purpose, but
True. I respect that.
he definitely does int sometimes.
Just sometimes, like not all the time. Just like
Yeah.
every once in a while, like he'll just like run it down.
Yeah, I
Just
think
like, oh,
I think
okay.
Seawolf does the same thing, but we'll talk about that when we get to the
Hey.
point.
Oh,
Um,
Seawolf.
that'll be
I got
fun.
a few things. I like Seawolf.
Anyway, but yeah, I think
Good old Seawolf.
I think June is a very similar case to North and Nojo in that they are on teams that don't play bot at all, and they just fight all the time. And June is the benefactor of that a lot.
I think June's just kind of there, man.
I mean,
I think
there's.
he's just a dude.
He kind of that's all he has to do a lot of the time.
Yeah,
He's just there,
kinda
dude.
I mean,
It's like, oh, Doubtful, Corona, Klexer, like they're doing nothing on the top side. I'm just down here.
I
Like,
don't even know
Yeah.
if June does damage, man. I think he just stands.
I can't even see their damage shots. Like, I know anything about June.
oh god.
I've never had less to say about someone than June right now.
He
I like
doesn't.
looked at that.
He
I
doesn't
didn't
get
even
the
know his
fun
I mean,
name
he's
when I
still
was running
Baron's
his
on
memes.
Rhaegar. I can
Oh
give
my
him
God.
that.
I think he's good. I think he's consistent, and I think he doesn't int. And
I mean, we
I
talked
really,
about.
I really
every-
wanted them to flex that Vigar Yumi bot
I
lane.
mean, he's just an advanced bot,
oh
like
my
the
God.
intermediate
God.
bot. That's all he is. He just kind
Poor
of stands
guy.
there, runs back
Intermediate.
and forth,
Okay,
does no damage.
he has a brain enough to not die. Okay, he doesn't
Well,
die.
intermediate dies when they get low. They just go back. So it's easy.
Oh my God.
They walk all the way back to Fountain.
Yeah.
That's definitely extreme here.
This is
Against
No,
June.
for sure.
But
Uh,
I was really annoyed they didn't flex that Vigar bottom lane with the Vigar Yumi. Smax, you're a Yumi fan.
Yeah.
You know how oppressive that lane can be.
Yep.
And like I was disappointed. I was like, damn, June, where's your Vigar? Come on.
You know what I was disappointed with? Now that we're talking about role swaps here, I was disappointed that a certain someone dodged the Ornn into Maokai matchup 2 times in one series.
Okay. But there was a lot. No, there wasn't really. Game 3, I have no idea why we did that. I regret that massively. At the time in comms, we were 2-0 up. We were like, damn, Original's so fucking trash. Let's play the dog again. We picked the dog last pick.
Oh.
We picked Nasus for the second time. It was fun the first time. Second time, it was like, not really the job for it.
Yeah. Anyway,
Um,
but yeah, let's get to
wait,
the top 2.
how did we come from flaming June to flaming me, Smax? You
It's just so
defended
easy.
Flaming your AKM players or what? Like,
It's just so
Oh,
easy to
that's
flame
so
Sunshine.
people.
AKM Smax shine through and he
Okay.
just immediately took offense.
I will be the first to tell you that June is the 5th carry on Akuma Katanas.
Okay,
I mean,
that's fair.
But he doesn't lose them the game, and I think
Well,
that
you
is
need
good.
those players. You need those
you
players
need
in the
those
championship
Yeah.
team.
I agree, and I think
It
June does
surprises
that.
me that Soulbound's player is Elvis for that role, by the way. Just so we
I mean, it's
clarify.
Elvis in North. The biggest one is probably North, but it's also Elvis. Yes. It's
Eh,
surprising with his.
Yeah.
It's very surprising indeed with the way he acts, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
the three carries are
let's get
definitely,
to the
internal-
top 2.
Tony and have.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off, but
All good. I've been
we're
doing it.
approaching an hour and 45. I just want to let you guys know. But
Yeah, well,
Oh,
we'll
God.
get through it quick.
anyway, yeah. I'm rather unimpressed with this role as the 6 players, I think. When compared to the other roles. So but anyway, with that, T, what's your top 2?
My number 2 is Kiwi. I agree with Tron. I think he's one of the 80 carries here that can 1v9. I actually really think that's in Kiwi's wheelhouse. But I think he also has int factor, which is why he's my number 2 and not my number 1. My number 1 is Yellow. I think if he gets to his 2-3 item spikes, it's GG.
Is it me or your number 1, 2 are all players from your team? Just saying.
I mean, same with me too.
For my
Yeah,
number 1 for
sure. I
jungle,
don't say
it
it.
was
Yeah.
my number 1 for jungle was Bishan.
Oh, true.
I think a lot of us agreed that Diesel was up
True.
there.
Yeah.
And then
I just
Fancy,
wanted to sorry, Chid. Don't
Fancy's so like mid lane's so hard, and yeah, I would give it to Fancy. Like Fancy for me, and then yeah, here I think on support you will find I do not have him on my essential players number 1. But
All right. Don't
Spoilers.
spoil it
Yeah.
too much. Don't spoil it too much.
for
Don't mind
80,
me.
80 character, well, essential players get such bad rep, dude. We get 0 top 20 represent.
Fancy's
I mean,
on
I
there.
put two.
We
Fancy's
always,
on the
we
list.
always get to playoffs every season. All
All
right?
I'm saying is I
Essential
put
team
3
has
of your
never
players
made
in my top
playoffs.
20. I put 3 of your players in my top 20, then I was told I had needed to take Diesel out. That's all I'm saying.
We get 0 rep, okay? Nobody gives us credit. So I've got to be the one to give us the credit. But yeah, Yellow's my number 1
Alright.
for sure. I think Demon is, just on this note, I think Demon's really, really good, but it's hard for him to look good when he's with, like to take all the credit when he's with Lexington. So yeah.
Okay. What about you, Tron?
Number 1, Kiwi. I don't need to talk about that anymore. He's just the best. Number 2 is Tron Heimerdinger because I don't think any of the other AD carries are good.
Who's Heimerdinger?
Tron
Mine.
RS.
Tron Heimerdinger. You remember that? Come
Oh
on.
yeah.
You can't give
What
us.
about
a
what about
North
North Summinger though?
No,
No.
No?
Tron Heimerdinger. That's it.
I agree.
All right, go next.
Alright.
Your turn, Aerys.
Well, I don't know.
Technically, Tron is still in the squad, so we could add him as a 7th AD.
Yeah.
Sure.
We've got a lot of those. Yeah, maybe
Uh,
if QA gets another 2-week suspension.
Oh, God.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I think a lot of these players are indeed less impressive, is the word I would say. I mean, we have 3 out of 4 teams that play bot lane weak side, right? I think, if we look at it.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Coutinho
So-
would have been my number 1 if he didn't get knocked out.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's not even
Just to
agree.
clarify, and maybe even like Cruiser would be up there with like Kiwi, and there's just a few examples. Like I think most of the good AD carries are gone, which is weird. Like it's.
I
weird.
agree.
It's because bot lane is bad.
AD
but-
carries
Yeah.
Except for Kiwi.
Yeah, so number 2 I would put Yellow. I do think that he's a player that is not very flashy in a way, but he is very good, again, in team fights, as we said. I think his laning is solid most of the time. But yeah, he has issues, including when he doesn't have good synergy with his support. I think it brings him down by a lot. He needs like someone to help him out, if I can say. But I also think that the way he plays team fights and the way he can carry a fight puts him as number 2 for sure. I don't think he's shown that much because I know he's shaky on stage, if I can say it like that. He doesn't play as good in official games because he's stressed out. But I think if he can go over that and actually play at the potential I know he can play, is definitely number 2. And then my number 1 is Kiwi. I don't know. I don't see anyone else taking the number 1 spot. I think he's very solid. I think all the 3, all the ADCs that are actually playing, he's the one with the most carry potential. And I just think he's up there.
I agree. I think Kiwi's my number 1 as well for a lot of the same reasons. He's definitely the only one here that can really 1v9 a game at this point. And yeah, he's really impressive. I think he's got the best mechanics of the remaining ADs. And like T said, he wouldn't be my number 1 if a lot of the other ADs were still remaining. I think Coutinho is very good. I think Cruiser is very good. I think Indigo is very good. I say that, but Kiwi knocked out Indigo. So there's that. Yeah, Kiwi's my number 1. Really, really good. I liked his Caitlyn, by the way. I hope we see more of that.
Indigo actually had the most sad series I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That guy not only was he able to have 0 impact in that series, he like just had absolutely 0 impact. Like that's like when you think AD carry role is bad. I watched Indigo's game and I felt like maybe AD carry is a pretty bad role. Like this man had 0 chance of ever having an impact in that game.
Yeah, it's pretty true. I don't know why they kept putting him with Pyke. I felt so bad. Anyway, that's beside the point. My number 2 is going to be June. I think June is really underrated. Stop looking into the camera.
What? AKM Smax rolling.
I think
We just
okay.
said he has
This guy.
nothing. He's an intermediate bot.
I didn't say that.
He
You
goes
said
around in a
that.
circle And maybe the auto attack.
Hold on.
That's a bit too harsh.
Hold on.
We said that he was the rock, that he was
Give
consistently
me a second, okay?
average. Fuck, poor guy.
We're doing AD carry low.
I think
What
that
about yellow? No, you think?
I
June's
think
better
that
than
yellow is close behind.
Yellow is for sure better than June. I'm sorry.
I
but-
think yellow is close behind June.
Close behind
What
you!
do you
Oh my god!
Pass it up, boys.
I
AKM
think-
impossible.
Smax rolls through.
Pass it up, boys. Go next.
In my top 20 list,
Alright, we should let him speak.
in my top 20 list, neither of them made it, but June was number. Wait, okay. Well, let me remember. I'm pretty sure June was number 22 and yellow was number 23, and I stand by that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I stand by it.
Give consistency, Smax. Just hold
I stand
guns.
by June. He's still the 5th carry on Akuma Katanas, but being the 5th carry on what I think is the best team is still pretty good. So, I think
I'm surprised you still think they're good when they're about to get 3-0 by Soulbound.
Oof.
I'm really excited for that match.
Shots
I
fired.
think Akuma Katanas are gonna. I mean, I already predicted it. I think they're gonna 3-2. I think it's gonna be really close. But yeah, I think June is definitely more consistent than North and Noah Joe and the Demon. I think he's definitely less of a star player and like a really mechanically good player than Kiwi, so I can't put him above Kiwi, and I wouldn't. I wouldn't even think of it. But I do think that June is he plays like the supportive role if you can do that as the bot lane position, and then he'd be the person that would be the best at that. And
Does he play Ash?
probably. I mean, Ash is
Yeah, but he
really
probably
easy.
should stick to that. Pretty utility-wise.
Ashbot fires arrow mid lane.
But yeah, as much as you guys can meme me for this, I think June is good. So anyway, let's hop on over to support. So we've got 5 supports: Laxon and Orbit from Essentia, Core Havoc as the support for Soulbound, Seawolf for Go Next, and Forbidden for Akuma Katanas. And right off the bat, I am gonna dive into the whole Laxon versus Orbit situation. I
Free
agree that
Laxon.
Laxon looks more shaky than he did before. Is that a good enough reason by itself to sub him out? Maybe, but subbing him out because he doesn't work well with yellow, I think, is a good reason to sub him out. And I'm glad that you picked up Orbit because I think Orbit is good.
So I can pretty much put this to bed, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Like the Laxin, in my opinion, is a better support than Orbit. I think Orbit's really good. I'm never going to talk bad about my players, but I think Laxin's a better support. Laxin plays support differently to anyone else, and if you're an AD carry and you join Essentia and Laxin's your support, like
It's gonna be
weird. Give me June. You know, I'm scouting June next season.
All right, Mr. New Akuma.
I mean, what you're saying is you need to let Laxon take your wave, right?
Yeah.
I know that
Laxon-
shit makes Yellow go mental boom. So.
Laxon was built to have a Senna in his lane.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Laxin is, you'd think that, but
Okay, well,
damn, no, we tried that. No, Laxin's, anyway. But Laxin's really good. Like, he has moments where, like, he will 1v5 a team fight with an insane Galio taunt, or, like, he'll find, like, a disgusting hook on Nautilus or something like that, or he'll just blow up your entire team with Swain or something. Like, he just has these moments where it's like, fuck me. Like, sorry, excuse my French. I've never seen a support carry this hard, right? So it was really difficult decision. I think this has to be the hardest decision I've ever had to make as a coach. Like, full stop. Like, I've never had to make a hard decision to this. It came down to the fact that, like, Demon and Yellow just, like, they don't match. And while Yellow was a pretty new player to the team, and we had Demon Laxon, who obviously did have a pre-built synergy from last season, it made it pretty difficult for me because I felt like Yellow was doing better as an AD carry, but he wasn't getting the support that like he's used to and like he needs. So that's where like Orbit came in, because Orbit fulfilled that role perfectly. He's a traditional support player. He plays support how supports should play support. But Laxin didn't have that. So it was really difficult. It was basically like, okay, we could go with Laxin and Yellow and try to just make it work. And that's where this whole meme about Yellow having a really bad laning phase came in, because Laxin and Yellow in lane was quite possibly the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, this shit was painful. And I'm like putting two really good players in lane together, and I think like, okay, this should work. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
sometimes it just doesn't work like that. Like, it just doesn't work like that.
One of Yellow's flaws is that he doesn't play the lane that much according to the other person, so he needs someone that matches him, not the other way around. And I think it's the same with Laxin, right? So it's
I completely agree. Like, it was just yin and yin, you know?
Yeah.
I'm looking for my yang. And I think Orbit fulfilled that role really well. And Orbit like plays a different team role. He's a bit more vocal. He unlocks his camera, which helps. So yeah, Orbit, and he has a different champion pull to Laxin, which is traditional, right? So it's really different. And I think, but like if I were to like say, okay, like which one is just like if I was queuing up in a solo queue game, which one would I rather have? I'd probably rather have Laxon. But in the team where you're matching 5 personalities that have to mesh, you have to find the right composition of play styles and personalities to win you a PRL. I felt like this was the move to make. And it wasn't easy. This is still, I'm not saying this is still a really hard move to make as a coach.
So touching on Orbit's champion pool, would you consider Rakan to be in his champion pool?
Okay, I don't think I could.
Not.
Listen to me. Okay, shush, Smax. If I was Rakan and I was playing versus Sindra, Thresh, and I can't remember what else they had, but he probably played Rakan into the worst possible Rakan comp you could ever.
So you
play
blame
into.
yourself.
I mean, there was no Poppy.
No, I still think picking Rakan forced them to draft that way. But maybe a Mordekaiser would have been worse. But it's pretty close,
No, if Leona was there, it would have been worse for 100%. Leona
I think
and
Thresh is
Rakan.
still pretty bad for Raekwon.
I think Thresh.
I mean,
is
it's
bad.
like his 4th or 5th hardest matchup, though. It's not the hardest by any means.
He just has
As a Rakan player?
too many hard
Yeah,
matchups.
so
No,
I
listen,
think
Leona are hell.
Also, we're talking about a game 5.
Yeah.
Everyone's Orbit played
I'm
out of his mind
sorry.
game 1 and 2.
I'm
No,
sorry.
I
I
agree.
took
100%
it that
agree.
way.
I said it on
I
the
shouldn't
podcast.
have.
I think
Orbit's
Orbit did
Thresh
super well game 1 and
and
2.
Orbit's Tarek were insane game 1 and 2. Why does he get 0 credit for that and everyone's talking about Orbit's Rakan? Orbit.
Because
Rakan game
Aerys
1,
and I
What?
are both Rakan players.
Yeah, but I said it on the podcast. I want to make sure I gave him credit.
Yeah.
I literally
Yeah,
DM'd
yeah.
Yellow mid game. Holy shit, Orbit is popping off. He's doing
Yeah.
super well.
His Tarek
After
was
game
super
2.
good. Tarek was super
It's just I saw him play 5 games competitively, right?
I think
and
yeah.
2 of them were good, and the 3 others were
Yeah.
questionable.
Yeah.
So
But
it's
Orbit has an
hard
extremely wide champion pool. He can play anything, which is great for me as a
Mhm.
coach.
I think Rakan is too wide.
I think you're too wide, Smax.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, Rakan is
Okay.
Rakan is that kind of champion as well. You can agree with me on that, Smax, but Rakan is that kind of champion where if you get into people that can actually punish you and blow you up, you will die a lot.
Yeah,
This
it's really
champion is
tough.
made of paper.
Mm.
Yeah.
You go in and you die in
I
0.5
think Sinjar art him every fight, so it made Orbit
Yeah.
look really useless.
I agree.
But actually he's tanking Sinjar every fight and we win.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting. I think we had one fight at Elder Dragon, right? He instantly died and it's 4v5, but he got the ult out from Syndra, and Syndra was level 18 and Rakan was level 12. As far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned, that's practically worth if he's just ulting you, right?
Yeah.
You take
Yeah.
out the level 18 Syndra's ultimate.
That's
for-
pretty true.
Yeah, so
But still,
yeah, okay,
as a
it looked
Rakan
bad.
player, it's a meme to me.
It
but-
looked bad, dude.
Yeah.
But you got to recognize that there are other
No, yeah.
mitigating
I'm
circumstances.
just messing with him.
But Yellow Zaya is really insane. I just
Yeah.
want to clarify.
Yes.
True.
Yes.
Yellow's in Zaya is I reckon, yeah.
All right. Well, with that,
played with
let's. Good.
Insane.
Well, let's move over to Core Havoc. Core Havoc is definitely unlike the other 4. In that I think that he's definitely more of a carry player than the rest. And I say that because Laxon looks a little bit less good in the current support champion pool, but Havoc just plays he just plays Ultimate Bravery and he still smashes you. So
I mean, have you seen him play stuff like Thresh, Pike, and those champions?
I've seen his
He's
Bard.
insane.
His Bard's crazy.
He's insane. Yeah, is Pike is nuts. I don't think he's gonna pick it because but is Thresh. I mean, I saw
He
out
picked
that
Shaco, so
the
don't hold
clip
out hope that he won't.
of him hooking Fancy off his old
I-
mid-Talia ult as Thresh. That was nuts.
I think, yeah.
I have clips of him interrupting Lee Sin Q's with Thresh where he predicts the trajectory. He is nuts.
Yeah, Havoc
So
is
when you're gonna see him,
that guy's crazy.
if he plays traditional supports and supports that he's actually good at, and he doesn't first time Shaco in a competitive game because that's what he did. That was the second time he played Shaco in his life. He looked like that. So when this guy picks actual supports, you're gonna be surprised by how well it does. He's gonna smash.
I'm really high on
Well,
Core
let's
Havoc. I
hope he
think he's really good.
doesn't pick troll supports. Because I think one of the people he will struggle picking troll supports against is Forbidden. Because I think
Yeah.
Forbidden's really good.
I think Forbidden's
I mean,
That
really
was a
good
nice
too.
transition. Thank you, Naughty.
I think Forbidden and Seawolf are very similar in that they play very similar champions. I think, except for I think Forbidden dips into the enchanters a little bit more than Seawolf does. But I
What's
think
an enchanter, Seawolf would say?
I think Forbidden
is
and
Swain an
Seawolf
enchanter?
Die, you mean die?
Forbidden and Seawolf play the tanks very similarly, where they are not afraid to get the fight started. which is something that you need a lot
Yeah.
from your support, and they're not afraid to do it. I've been a support for a long time, and I know the difference between a tank support who is afraid to fight and a tank support that is playing like they're playing Janna.
Yeah.
And
As far as I'm concerned, if you're a tank support player and you're not dying first every team fight, you're doing it wrong.
I think that's a
I
little
mean-
bit hard, but I get where you're coming from. Like you should be
Hopefully you
the
don't
first.
die.
You should be the first putting yourself at risk of death.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I think the ultimate tank.
But I mean,
player-
like, if your team's dying, you should die first. You know, like that's what I'm saying.
Well,
mean, I
if
know-
you're against
I-
assassins, then maybe that's not like it's all very nuanced. But I
I
agree
think-
that if you should be the first person being at risk of death, and I think
Yeah.
both of those players know that very well. Yeah.
Seawolf is definitely at risk of death for most of the games I've seen him play.
Yeah.
I like.
I mean, I think the ultimate
like
tank
Seawolf a
player
lot.
is to go in,
I love
get stung to
Seawolf.
like 50 HP, and then survive with barely, and then getting out, having soaked as much damage as you could. That's ultimate tank play. That's not dying. It's
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
as much as you can without giving up a death.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they both. They both do that. So yeah, I really like both Seawolf and Forbidden. I think they're very similar in my eyes. As far as I know, they both contribute a lot to shot calling too. Well, at least I know that Seawolf does. With Forbidden, after listening to Akuma Katana's talk, they all just shout the same thing at the same time. It's very chaotic. So if you haven't before, I recommend watching some of their games just for the comms, because it is really something else. But yeah, I know that they both contribute very well to the shot calling, and that's something that I think support should do. Support and jungle, I think that is their job in an ideal League of Legends world. So yeah, I really value them both very highly.
Yeah, Seawolf is a pretty big brain when it comes to macro and stuff. He literally thinks like 6 plays ahead and sets us up. When we see timers coming up, he'll be like, we have to go here, then here, then here, then here. He really just holds everyone accountable and makes sure everyone really plays the best that they can. He sets us up really well.
I think Seawolf has the highest highs of all the supports on this list.
I
I
can
think-
respect that actually.
I
can respect that.
disagree.
I think he also has the lowest lows.
I also agree.
I
of all
agree
the
with that, but I don't think he has the highest highs because I think Core Havoc is so good.
Okay, like yeah, but I just cross off those things. Like I cross off the Blitzcrank game, like the
Why?
well, he was playing against Tempest Gaming. Like,
yeah, I
come on.
know, but still.
Smax, come on.
All right.
Like
whatever.
okay, Seawolf's been playing against original OTA.
You're a
like, decent
Soulbound hater.
teams. No, I'm not.
I mean,
I haven't said
you
anything
saw
about Havoc
Havoc
yet.
on.
I haven't said anything about Havoc yet, other than that he doesn't have as high highs as Seawolf. But I
I
haven't
mean-
seen Havoc play seriously yet. To be
You
fair.
wanted to talk about Havoc playing against a good team? Don't you remember Havoc's Thresh against your team, where you literally killed Yellow twice in 5 minutes? That's all I'm saying.
This is
Mhm.
after we'd already locked in first, or at least we thought so. I mean, yeah.
I mean, he's playing
Yeah,
Ezreal,
okay.
and Thresh is
We
killing
didn't
him.
really care about. We honestly, when we were messing around, come on, man. Like,
You know, T, when I'm playing bot lane, I definitely personally care a lot
glad
if
we
I
made-
get hooked like 8 times in lane. That's just something that I would care about.
Wait, I don't think Yellow got hooked 8 times in lane, did he? I don't remember.
No, after that,
I
was
just-
like
I just pulled a number out of a hat,
couple times,
but-
yeah.
But yeah.
I think I'm glad that we made Havoc pull out a real support.
Yeah.
But
I hope
yeah,
he does
I
it
think
again.
yeah, I look forward to seeing Havoc on real supports for real. Like I actually look forward to seeing Havoc taking it seriously. I think his Gragas was actually good though, so if that's in his
Yes.
pool, maybe it's
definitely
actually something to
is.
I mean,
Yeah.
it makes Gragas a 4-way flex for my team.
play. Yeah, he was pretty good at Gragas. And then like the thing about the way I see Seawolf Forbidden is like Seawolf Forbidden is like a consistently good Seawolf. Seawolf is like could be better some games, could be really bad other games. Like Seawolf gets killed a lot on Vision, so
That's
yeah,
true.
that's why I struggle with Seawolf. Havoc, like I think he has huge potential. Like he definitely popped off in that Thresh game. Okay, no credit taken away. And he Gragas game he played, he looked really good. But like, it's like I don't know what his understanding of the nuances of the game are, and like how Like, I think I watched them versus Soulbound Silverbacks, and I didn't think Havoc played very well in those games. That was him on his alt account, right?
He didn't.
Aerys?
Yeah, that was on his
He
main,
played
the champion
really.
that he owns, small champion.
He
Yeah.
played really badly in that series. So that's in a
I mean, he
different
only
league.
played 2 games, right?
Yeah,
He
but
did. From what I'm understanding of it,
so I can't like hype
got
up
in-
Havoc too much after seeing that.
he got in because he actually wanted to try that series. He got in after they had lost already twice without him, and they were all like he got tilted pretty hard from their general attitude and stuff. So that's why he played bad, from my understanding
yeah.
of it.
Still,
yeah.
if you're going to be in PRL playoffs, you got to be good when you're going gets tough.
Mhm.
And that's a fact, because if you're going to be down 0-2, Central Storm going to reverse sweep your asses. I'm kidding.
You're gonna reverse the curse.
Yeah, you got to have mental when the time comes.
Yeah, I know.
So that's why, yeah. But I think all the supports are decent. So I don't think it's anywhere close to mid or jungle in like strength of role, but I definitely think they're decent.
I think so too. But yeah, with that, let's hop into the top 2. T.
Okay. My number 1 is, I want to say Seawolf on a high. Seawolf actually, yeah, Seawolf. It's hard to put Seawolf here on number 1 because when Seawolf looks bad, he looks really bad. But
Well,
I think
real quick for that, Seawolf on a low, he still does all the macro in the entire game. So like,
yeah, that's fair. Okay, and also Seawolf on a low, even if he's 07, he's still gonna look for that engage. So
Yeah.
I'll put Seawolf as my number 1. My number 2 will be Laxin and not Orbit. If we're just because I'm just looking at individuals here, outside of like their role in their team. As a support player, I think Laxin's really, really good. He definitely dipped a little bit in performance before he got benched. But generally speaking, you'll see on Friday, Laxin's really good.
oh,
Ooh,
Laxin
wait,
freed.
leaked.
Oh, wait, let me write this down real quick.
Yeah, wait, hold on.
Just kidding. I know he's not going to go in. He hates him. Let's see. For my top 2, Seawolf number 1, he literally just macros everyone, just himself out macros.
Orbit, I love you, by the way. I left you out, Orbit. Sorry.
Yushan actually helps and stuff, obviously, and mid and top and AD carry all chime in, but it's definitely Seawolf taking over the game. Even when he is, 05, 06, he still is talking, still is taking over. It's really good. And then number 2 is Core Havoc. I think Core Havoc's really, really solid. I think he's a really good player. I think he makes up for Elvis playing very poorly. But besides that, I think Core Havoc is just a very all-around good player, and he knows how to win games in general.
All right. For me, well, the easiest one is I put Havoc number 1 for very obvious reasons. So a bit of backstory. I met Havoc on other teams. I played against him, is what I'm trying to say. I am a support main. I've played against him in competitive settings, including in playoffs of other leagues, and he hard smashed me every single time. Yeah, he's insane. He's also very smart about the game, and if he's popping off that hard, well, he is trolling every single game because he's not just trolling in the picks, right? He's trolling in his gameplay. When he takes it serious, it's gonna be insane, and I really hope he does because so far he doesn't look like it. But yeah, he is uncontested number 1 in my highs. There's no one even close to him on his own. And then number 2, I put Forbidden, I think, but this one is the one that I'm very iffy about because it could be Seawolf, Forbidden, or Laxin in my highs.
It's hard to rank
Like,
Forbidden because they play so much topside. Like,
Yeah,
it's really
exactly.
hard.
But I think he's solid. But like from what I've seen it with Seawolf. I didn't know he was shot calling and stuff. That makes him better in my eyes, true. But I saw him get picked a lot, so I don't know. I didn't see him enough. Again, I only saw him in quarters. I never saw him play other than that, and I saw him get picked. So in my eyes, it's something that shouldn't happen too much.
Yeah, I think without knowing Seawolf, I think
Yeah.
without hearing him, he'd be 5th.
Exactly.
I think so. Well, maybe. I coach Seawolf. I know he adds a huge amount to a team.
Well,
Like,
yeah, but that's
he's
what I
really
said.
cool.
Without knowing him, without hearing
Yeah,
him.
exactly. I
Then
did.
he'd be- I think
I
he'd be
kind of agree sometimes.
Yeah, and then
Tron, you said you thought Forbidden was a rundown merchant, though, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Forbidden
Well,
is
again,
solid.
I don't know Forbidden that well, right?
Yeah.
So it could be the same situation. I have no idea.
Mhm. Yeah. And then Laxon, I think individually is very good. I think the way he plays team fights is insane, actually. Like his team fighting is nuts. I think his landing is absolute garbage though. Like it's insane. Like not even talking about Yellow, I'm talking himself. He doesn't
Oh,
have
yeah.
Well,
that
he makes Yellow's laning look garbage, so.
Yeah, but like him alone in lane already looks bad.
I don't know, Smax. Laxon sometimes comes out of lane 5-0 and you're like, damn, Laxon, you nailed that shit. And then it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, some games he just doesn't know, he just forgets where his hands are.
Sometimes
don't
the
know.
Swain hook doesn't
His-
hit.
I
His
actually think he's
positioning
playing
looks.
with his feet some lanes. Like,
Yeah.
Laxon
But,
has a habit of
individually-
checking out. Laxon has a habit of checking out of games
Mhm.
when he feels like the going gets rough.
I see. But his roams are very good. The way he plays with Fancy is very good. The way he plays with the team itself is insane. And his team
Orbit.
fighting is very good. Especially on Galio, I'll give
Yeah.
him the nod, but I mean I haven't seen him play much anything else, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think he deserves a nod. I'd probably put him at number 3 with Seawolf for Forbidden being second. And then I don't know. Like it's a bit mixed up in my mind. It's very close for these 3. But they're definitely like all in contention for number 2, but I'd give them to Forbidden. Yeah, and then Orbit is probably fills the role better with the team, but individually, like if we're just talking about individual performance, the way that we're ranking players here, yeah, it's probably the yeah. So, but he seems to fit very well with the team and to play lane decently with Yellow, so
Right.
I'll give him that as well. But yeah.
All right, I have the same top 2 as Aerys actually. I have Core Havoc in number 1 and Forbidden in number 2, for very similar reasons. I think Core Havoc. I personally am definitely someone who really likes to just play any champion that I want on the day for support, and
Mhm.
I often make it look not very good, but Core Havoc makes it look like an actual playstyle.
Yeah.
He is very, very good in support. I'm really high on Core Havoc. I think he is. If I had to like pick who I think is the best remaining player, he would be in that conversation for sure. Like,
Bishan,
I would probably end up picking Bishan. I think that's true. But
B for MVP.
I think Core Havoc is in the conversation
Oh,
absolutely.
for sure.
Yeah.
He is
I think-
really good at like every champion that he plays. He just picks the random button and he just plays it. So yeah, I'm really high on Core Havoc, but touching a little bit more on Forbidden, I already made the comparison with Seawolf. I think they both play those tanks really well. The reason that I have Forbidden higher than Seawolf is because I think Forbidden's enchanters are also really good. Of course, it's not hard to look good on Yuumi. We've had this conversation a whole bunch. I know T and I about how Yuumi is high skill floor, whatever we decided it was. But-
Low skill floor.
Yeah. Whatever.
Low skill floor, high
Whatever,
skill
whatever,
cap. Is that
whatever,
what you're saying? Or...
Uh,
I mean, it's-
skill cap.
I don't
Yeah,
think it's high
her
skill
skill
cap, but
cap
I'm
is
just
very low.
throwing.
But
Yeah,
but
alright,
yeah,
good.
it's
That's what I was thinking
it's
too.
not hard to look good on Yuumi, is what I'm trying to say. But that's not the only enchanter he plays. He also plays the Karma. He plays the Lulu. He plays like all these other stuff too, and I think he's really good at it. And while I think Seawolf probably, actually I'm not going to say probably, Seawolf contributes more in terms of macro and shot calling to the team, but I think Forbidden doesn't have to a lot of the time because they don't really play around bot all that much. And when it does come time for the late game, I think Forbidden looks very similar to Laxon. Of course, Forbidden's not really playing the Swain, so his team fights don't look like as pop-off, but I think Forbidden understands team fights very similarly to a level that Laxon does. So I'm really high on Forbidden as well. I think he's really good, especially in that that stage of the game, once it does come to the team fights and everything. But yeah, the lane, I think the lane just in general for Akuma Katana's bot lane is a little bit exploitable, but I think with June and Forbidden's consistent like Stonewall approach to that lane, and then their consistency in the team fights as well, I think they're really good. But yeah, I think Core Havoc's pop-offs are really big. So
I think it's a big credit to Laxon that he still gets so much mention despite not playing at all.
Yeah.
Original.
Yeah.
But I also want to just like emphasize again. I didn't say Orbit, but like Ferocity made a big mistake when they dropped this guy. Like,
I
he's a really
definitely
good
agree.
player.
definitely.
He's a team player, and like he knows his game knowledge is really good. Like he sometimes maybe overthinks things slightly, but I'd rather have that and have to dial that back slightly than have someone who's just autopilot. And Orbit is really, really good as a player.
I agree.
Can we do
All right.
predictions?
Predictions. I mean, yeah, we can do that. So Aerys and I already gave our predictions, so we'll just hand it to Tron and T for this. What are your predictions?
So you can go first.
We're gonna reverse sweep for the meme.
Well, it didn't work for sides.
I'm gonna say. I really like Go Next. Like me and Tron are pals, you know. Until this week.
Together.
Yeah, we teamed up together for the Odyssey League. I really rate a lot of their players. But I also think that I know them well. And I think that's going to be an advantage. So I'm going to say 3-1 to Essentia. I think they're going to take one game from Bichon just playing really well. So that's it.
One game? Striker's going to flip tails for 3 games in a row, man.
I mean, didn't you see it? He already flipped it and he said he was going to end 3-0. Go next. He did it in banter.
True. Bench and put J-Web in.
I think Striker was memeing.
See what happens.
I think Striker was memeing you.
That's what
I know. I'm also memeing you.
But also, I think Soulbound 3-0's a cool.
I think that we've mind controlled everyone into thinking we're bad, and we're gonna shit stomp.
Oh no! You are bad too.
3-0. Easy. Change my prediction now. It's 3-0. Yes,
all right. So you said 3-0 Soulbound, Tron?
Yeah, 3-0 Go Next and
that one.
Soulbound.
If I were to pick that one, I'd say 3-2 Soulbound. I think what's gonna happen is that the first 2 games, Soulbound are gonna win, and then Katanas are gonna maybe wake up, and hopefully not do what Size did, which is Mental Boom Game 3. Hopefully Katanas will wake up. Then they'll play 2 good games, but I don't think they'll win all 3 of the next. I think Soulbound will flip one of the last 3 games. But I think the first game will definitely go to Soulbound. I think the Katanas will not be ready for how Soulbound play. Soulbound are difficult to get used to. We played them twice. We weren't ready for it. Like, frankly, I'll emphasize this again. Like, it takes, like, I think one of the points I made all season was that I think Soulbound will struggle when it comes to best of 5. I think that still stands, but I just think they haven't played versus a good team yet. So it'll be interesting to see if Katanas, they haven't had the advantage that we've had of playing them before, so it'll be really interesting to see the series. I really look forward to watching that series, actually. Yeah, I'll be kind of stressed out for ours, or a little bit like, I'll be focused on it, but the Soulbound Katanas is just going to be, for me, it's going to be a lovely spectator.
Yo, Aerys, I got something for you.
Yo, what's up?
Game 3 of last year, when we faced them in semifinals or whatever it was.
I think it was quarters.
Quarterfinals. Game 3, we pulled straws out of a hat to see what role we were playing. I played support, Pantheon, and Bichon played AD carry, Talia, and we just and then we put like Kiwi in like the jungle. We just kind of bullshit around and still like. I think that was our cleanest game that we played.
It kind of was.
You don't have to worry, bro.
Please don't give ideas to my team. Thank you.
I hope they listen
because they're gonna listen to this and they're gonna do that, and then they're gonna throw a game randomly, and then they're gonna be like, no,
easy, dude.
You have no idea how trolly can Soulbound go.
I do think Soulbound win that game though. I think they've been getting better and better.
Yeah, maybe, but like this is so like. You've not seen the full spectrum of Soulbound trolling, because every single time they were trolling, there was at least one person trying. But they can go all out, and I hope they don't, because it's going to be... Like you said, the games are Fiesta right now.
We had Seawolf top lane.
That's true.
We had Seawolf on Maokai top.
That's true.
Just like... I'm telling you, bro, it's easy.
Yeah. If that happens again, it's going to be pretty tragic for Katanas, but... We'll see. I'm really excited for all the series. Like T mentioned, all 4 of the remaining series are going to be bangers. We got them started up Friday at 7 Eastern time, and then also Saturday. And then the finals 3rd place match are going to be scheduled afterward as well.
I don't care if it's the final or the 3rd place. I want to play Soulbound.
Well, I'm sorry, it's going to be 3rd place, and you're not going to face them because they're being facing us.
Exactly. Going into versus Soulbound finals is going to be very hype.
Yeah.
Smax, you're meant to team up with me, and now say it's a Katana's Ascension Finals, okay?
Wait, now you want him to be a Kuma guy? Okay.
Okay.
I really hate to do this to you, man, but Ascension's definitely going to be in 3rd place match.
It's just a team up. I see. Yo, I've actually mind controlled you. I played this perfectly.
You know what? You guys
underrating
all
us.
predicted against the Kuma Katanas, and I predicted for them.
We're
So
always the underdogs. Going into Blades, everybody predicted us 3-0. We smashed them game 1 and 2. Granted, we lost that series, okay? But
you did get
we
3-0'd
always-
in games 3 through 5.
no one thought Ascension would ever come back.
True.
No one thought Ascension would ever turn around the opportunity to reverse sweep them. But we did, and we will continue to prove people wrong
Well,
going forward.
we're going to have to see, because that's going to do it here from us on the podcast episode. Do you guys have any shout-outs you want to give before we close it out?
Shout out to all my players. They're all great. I love you all. Mwah.
Yo, barhogfitness.com, code GoNext, 15% off all purchases. Get some cool Barhog merch. I'm telling you, man, Barhog. You got all your stuff, all your kind of workout clothes. I know Soulbound works out a lot. Code GoNext, barhogfitness.com.
I should probably have shouted them more out when I was doing Odyssey League stuff. But yeah, go Barhog. I'm also this Go Next coach as well.
True.
So, yeah.
Aerys, you got anything?
Shout out to Go Next. I can't wait to see you guys in finals.
All right. Well, with that, thank you guys so much for
I
listening
can't
in.
wait.
Thanks for listening into the SmaxTalk Podcast. This has been a really fun episode to do. I know you guys are going to be confused by the layout here. It's just Discord full screen. We don't have the desk this time because there are 4 people instead of 3. So I figured we'd just change it up. But anyway, thanks for listening in. Be sure to tune in to the games Friday and Saturday, and then the finals and third place match the next week as well. Thank you guys so much for listening in. If you did make it this far, appreciate it quite a bit. And that'll do it here from the SmaxTalk Podcast. See you guys later.
Yeah.